We got all these things we want in a man. A list of things. He got to be tall. He got to be dark. He got to be handsome. He got to have pretty teeth. He got to be a family man. He got to be financially stable. He got to be rich. He got to be successful. He got to be all these things. And we ain't even half the things on that list. He got to be a family man. Bitch, you ain't talked to your mama in 6 months, but you want him to be a family man. He got to be financially stable. Your account is in the negative, ma'am. Overdraft fees. He got to have a job. You need to go fill out some applications because you're still unemployed. He got to have pretty teeth. You ain't seen a dentist in 6 years. He got to have a six-pack and be in shape. You can't even walk up a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing. Get your life together. This whole list that he got to be. You ain't even half the things on that list. So this is what I challenge you to do so we can manifest love all 2021. Make that list of that perfect dream man that you got in your mind. Then, what I did, make a list of the type of woman he would need right by his side. You want him to be in shape? You need to get to the gym. Equally yoked, bitch. You want him to be financially stable? Well, you need to start saving. Because you can't keep a dime to your name. Huh? You want him to be a family man? Call your mama. You become a family woman. Heal your traumas before you put all this shit on him. You want him to be patient. Bitch, your patience is thin. You want him to be understanding. You the least understanding person in your circle of friends. But he got to be understanding. Fix you. Fix you. Whatever you want, become that. Fuck. He got to be in shape. Bitch, you eat chips every day. You heal. Let's become the person we want to attract. How about that? Huh? That's the challenge. These birds.
Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Rissa here with Culture Fuzz, aka Rissa SoFar. Thank you so much for joining me back here on another episode of the Culture Fuzz podcast. As you may or may not know, Culture Fuzz is about bridging the gap to people, places, products, and ideas that is going to make a quality difference in your life. And today is a bonus episode. I haven't done a bonus episode, I think in like a month or two or something like that. But I wanted to release a Valentine's Day special with the homegirl Jess. She's my special guest today. She has a phenomenal podcast called With Love by Jess. I love her so much. She is such a phenomenal soul. She's so intuitive, so aware, a very spiritual person, just dropping gems through the entire conversation that you're about to listen to. So I hope everyone had, an awesome Valentine's Day, an awesome weekend. Wait, what day? Are we still doing Valentine? I don't know. I just hope y'all had a great, fantastic weekend. I had an interesting day today. Quick little story time before we dive into this awesome conversation. I was sitting in the parking lot in front of this Chinese restaurant that I got for lunch today while I was at work. And I thought I'd close my eyes, take like a nice little, 10-20 minute nap before I head back. So I had my seat reclined, sitting back, enjoying some music, and I was awakened from my slumber by the radio dispatch and hurried screaming of several officers. There was about like 5 squad cars, I guess, that had pulled up and arrested someone. All the while I was asleep for like the 10-20 minutes, and what woke me up was dispatch saying something, and one of the officers was like, we need to go, we need to get out of here. Literally, like a movie, everybody just like rushes back into their squad cars, and they all take off, burning rubber, tires screeching, except there was this one squad car that was still left behind, and it was a female officer, and she was rushing about her car, like going from the front seat to the back seat. And, I'm kind of like reclined in my chair, but I'm like peeking over to just kind of, I'm nosy, just want to see what's going on. I need to be aware of my surroundings, like what the hell's going on? And all of a sudden I see her pull out this guy from the back seat of her squad car, takes off his handcuffs, bangs on her car, and was like, go, 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 gets in her car, and she pulls off. So I'm over here trying to process, like, what is happening? Do I need to be aware? Am I in danger? You know, just assessing, because instincts. And then I see the guy, he's like kind of walking towards my direction, towards my car. Mind you, all of my windows are down so I can get some fresh air. My doors were unlocked, and he's hurriedly coming towards my car, and he's like, hey, cuz. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, he's not talking to me. And he was like, hey. And he's clearly walking towards my car. So with the quickness, I roll up all of my windows, lock my doors, and I was just like, sir, I am so sorry. He's like, not even that. I didn't say that yet, but he was like, he's like, can you give me a ride? Blah, blah. And before he could even tell me what his story was, mind you, this was my break at work. I did not know who this man was. I literally just witnessed him get out of the back of a squad car and handcuffs taken off of him. He proceeds to ask me for a ride, and I said, so sorry, I can't, not doing it. I'm sure someone here will be able to help you. And he tried to tell me his story, and I just cut him off. I was like, I can't, like, regardless of what the story is, like, I can't do it. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't. And honestly, only stuff like this happens to me. Like, seriously, like, just, I have so many stories where it's really, really random. And I call my boyfriend, and he's like, I don't understand how things like this always happen to you and your mom. Because listen, I have stories I've witnessed and seen some very, very weird shit. So that was today on my lunch break. Just a lot can happen in 5 minutes, you know? So I do wonder what that story was about. I did see him go to like other cars and ask like if he could get a ride. And of course they were like, no, like it's very Taken vibes, you know? Like it just didn't, just had accomplice written all over it, you know? It's like, now that I'm involved, if I give him a ride, I don't know the situation. You were literally in handcuffs. Like, why? So many questions. So yeah, that was my lunch break today. Very eventful. But without further ado, a quick introduction to today's conversation in today's episode. There was a video that I came across on social media from B. Simone. If you don't know who B. Simone is, she is, honestly, I really like B. Simone. She is a social media personality. She started off as a social media personality from like what I remember her. Like really funny girl, you know, like always had viral vines or like media clips or whatever the case is. She just she grew to be known as like a social media personality. And then she started her makeup line, her makeup business. She's like a full-fledged, full-blown businesswoman. Like she's very ambitious. She's very vocal about her ambition. She's very vocal about her opinions unapologetically, which again, I admire, even though I don't agree with necessarily everything anyone says. I do admire someone who takes the time to identify their truths and then act on those truths unapologetically, regardless of what the world is saying about her. Like to me, that is what I strive to be. So why is she under social media scrutiny again? Well, she posted to social media basically talking about how, as women, I think it was specifically towards women, how we tend to make a list of things that we want in a man. We want him to be tall. We want him to be, you know, in shape, have a good relationship with his mother. Like whatever the case is, we all have an expectation of what we want in a partner, which is perfectly fine. But the issue or the idea that she presents is it's very easy to say what we want in a partner without necessarily asking ourselves if we're doing those same things. And she got attacked for that. Like it was a message of like, you need to be equally yoked. Like if you want someone who takes care of himself and is in shape, you need to take care of yourself and be in shape as well. Like you got to think about it. If a man that you want takes, like really invests in his health and you don't, what makes you think that he's going to want to be interested in someone who does not take care of herself? You know what I'm saying? So I didn't necessarily find anything wrong with the message. It's honestly a message that isn't new. Like this has been heard before. Like pretty sure this has been preached in churches and different types of life coaches, relationship coaches. Like it's very much a proposition to self-reflect and look within yourself and ask like, am I a person who is capable of maintaining and holding space for a relationship for someone like that. You know what I'm saying? When I don't practice those myself, or I don't practice that philosophy myself. And it's a very, very excellent exercise that she does, where she tells you to like write it down. And that was the video that you had heard at the beginning of this. I started it off with that. So it was interesting to see how it ruffled a lot of feathers. So I wanted to present this topic and facilitate this conversation to my Fuzz family with Jess from With Love by Jess, because she, again, is excellent at breaking things down, trying to get an understanding of the overall picture, being really unbiased about it, and just facilitating and bridging the gap to a great, great conversation. So I invite you all once again, like I always do. Oh, one more thing before I invite y'all, like I always do. If for the people who may have noticed my uploading pattern, I definitely did say that I would be uploading every single Monday. It's not working out. Just the way that everything is unfolding, I find myself that Tuesday is a lot easier to do, and I can actually commit to that. So I will be releasing the main episodes still weekly, but instead of Monday, it's going to be Tuesday, and then bonus episodes will continue to be on Thursday. So when I do come out with those, but I digress. So here we go. I invite you guys to listen to this conversation with Jess with open hearts and open minds, and to keep the conversation going in the comments. If you have any insight, if you have any questions, if it rubbed you the wrong way, if you find yourself yelling at the screen, go ahead and put it in the comments. We want to get this conversation going. So without further ado, here's Jess. Okay, because what you will quickly find, my listeners and my viewers, Jess and I have known each other for a few years, and we can talk. And I love talking to her, and I love it when she goes on her tangents or her gibbering and jabbering, as she was talking about, because it's not just gibbering and jabbering, it's intentional, it's phenomenal, and I'm really, really excited to bridge the gap to Jess and her podcast and her platform and what we're going to be discussing today. So Jess, thank you so much for joining me on my show, on my podcast. Like,
thank you, Rissa.
Oh my God, absolutely. It is a blessing. So I'm very, very excited. Jess reached out to me. I've been trying to get her on my show, on my platform, since I've started this thing. And she's always been like, I'm not ready. You know, it's not right. Like, it was just never aligned yet. And I was like, okay, no problem. When the time is right, it'll present itself. And it finally did. And I'm so excited. So invited.
That's how it started, right? I was like, wait, there's some brewing in the air. There's a lot of love in the air going on. And you know what? It was just it was just before Valentine's Day.
It was.
Like, let's delve into a little bit of conversation, because I feel like your platform definitely has the space for it. You talk about, love, relationships, and a lot of bullshit all the time. And I love
everything. Yeah.
And yeah, you get it in, and I appreciate that, because that's exactly what we do here at With Love by Jess as well.
Yes. So her podcast, With Love by Jess, I was a guest on her show. Definitely go check that out. You're on Spotify. Are you on iTunes?
I am not on iTunes. I
know
know
Apple or whatever podcast.
Yet. Yeah, no Apple yet.
Okay, no problem. So Spotify.
Pretty much everything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Where podcasts are, that's where it's at. So With Love by Jess, yeah, that's my little.
Hey.
Wellness.
We were just talking about how your day was going, and just all of the life shenanigans and like all of the little tiny things we have to kind of go through to make it to just like sit down and do this and execute this stuff. And I know what it's like to just like have a busy life, and just, you have like a son, you are like, am I allowed to say that? We could talk about your son on here? Okay. Okay.
Yes. Oh, she's so cute. No, everybody knows I'm pretty private. But I am this is the type of life I feel like I have to endure now. And look, people want to know who's Jess. Hey, hi.
Exactly. But respectful. Yeah.
My 13-year-old child is the love of my life. Like, I mean, I know everybody knows that, but definitely he is everything. He'll be 14 this year. I have a grown child.
It's a little man.
So yes, that is my everything. He is my everything. So I
Yes.
like I mean everything that I do for With Love by Jess, who I am, Jess as Jessica Rabs, like what I do on my grind, that all goes for him. Everything that I
Amen.
have, I being one because I am a single mother. Even though me and his father are great parents together, we have a great relationship. We
Amaze.
have
Amaze.
friends. We're
Yes.
family. That's what we say first and foremost. Family. We recognize our situation as family, and so nothing is better than family. And I always say that. And I feel like relationship wise, and I know everybody's getting so used to get caught up into the whole families could be your worst enemy too. But I mean, foundationally, no. I mean, when you look at family in the definition and the start of where family is supposed to be, you are supposed to rely on the people that are closest to you by blood. Those are the people that, yeah, you would want to have that connection to. And understandably, we have a lot of traumas and childhood, generational curses and things like that. A multitude of things that we could sit up here and talk about. But when it comes to the aspect of family, what that means, that has to be foundational. And same thing what you talk about here at Culture Fuzz. You talk about joining and networking and connecting people together. That's also family. That's how you do it. I mean, unfortunately,
Hmm.
trying to get away from the idea that that's not what we got to have, only because we know that they can be our worst enemies as well. And we know that, but there are individual people. There's individual people, and there's other people that you should have in your corner. And I always
I
have
love that.
respect for his father, and I respect his family, and I respect my situation with him, especially because I was a child when I was growing up raising a son. So,
Yeah.
I was 8 years old. I was 18. I was an adult, but I was still young enough to say that I was still a child raising a child. And look, that's where I got all my strength and all my wisdom, and
I love it.
I appreciate the life that I grew to. So yes, I'm not as private when it comes to my child, but yes, he is my world. So
I
that's a
love
little bit.
it. I love it. Yeah, I usually give a disclaimer. If there's anything that you don't want said on the podcast, I usually say just edit it out. And I know Jess, so I'm just like, let me just
I'm
like not
look,
split her life out here. Like,
look. Hey, everybody know me. Look, I'm a hippie. I'm an open book.
man,
My
you are Olive. Yes.
policy is love. Exactly. That is love. That is me, for me to be able to be secure in myself, that I could be vulnerable and transparent, means everything to me in my life. Why? Because it's exactly the reason why I'm here. The purpose of me to be able to help people. That is the number one thing.
Mm,
If you feel like you want to help people, great almighty, right? You want to be this big old helper, and you want to bridge communities, and you want to love on others. How about you take care of yourself first, enough to know that it's not about you anymore? That's a big step in losing ego and selfishness and a lot of things, because there's levels to all this shit. You know that, so there's
layers
levels.
and layers, girl.
And
Layers.
appreciate your growth, because everybody around me, and this is what I love about the IE. I feel like I'm blessed to be around tons of individuals who are like-minded, who are on the same life path and growth as I am.
Man.
And there is no one struggle that is no better or greater than no one's. We've all suffered and seen adversity, and we all respect each other in this community, and that's what I love. So I've always been blessed to be a part of the IE and the music scene out here. You guys are just amazing, and I'm always going to be pumping up my friends throughout these interviews. Y'all don't know I'm like the number one hype man, so
You
always
are. Wait,
uh,
I gotta highlight that for a second. Like Jess is genuinely, and I'm like literally not just saying this, she is literally like the definition of a cheerleader. Like when she fucks with you, she fucks with you. Commenting under my photos, pumping me the fuck up. Like I'm just like, yes. Like, and it is so
queen.
genuine. It is so refreshing. It is so needed. And I just appreciate that you are the way that you are. And it's like we're so, so grateful for you.
You guys are my queens. And why? Because I believe black people. I believe in black people, and I always say that. If I can't be honest and truthful about that, then what the fuck am I supporting you guys all for?
Mm,
If I say that you're my sister and I love you and I look at you as a queen and you inspire me,
mm.
that means something to me. Why? Because I see you as the sister that you are. Black people in itself inspire the world. Black people are
Facts.
very amazing people who can learn from one another and not to put each other down. I talk this shit, I speak this shit, I preach this shit every day. This is what I do. So I laugh at it when people might want to think that it might be fake, but I'll be like, well, shit, look, I love my greatness. If you love me, then I fucks with you too. But I
Hey.
no matter what, because I see you out here, you grinding, you doing what you gotta do.
Mm.
Everybody, even when we fuck up, people when they go through their shit, I always respect my friends. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Sorry, can I curse this much?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what the, like, I feel like, okay, so these are the signs that I'm creating an emotionally safe space for my guests when they start cussing, when
I'm
they start
like,
going on
you
tangents,
know,
when they start throwing up gang signs. It's
because
like
look,
if you guys are
I'm a
listening, you
healer.
have to head over to the YouTube channel because throwing up gang signs right now, preaching it, preaching it. No, I love it. It's
I be like, but that's just me. Look, that's me. That's me. And it's so funny because people be like tripping. I'll be like, that's just who I am. But
yes,
I can't change that. That's who I am. And I'd be trying to be like, Lord, I'll be talking to God every day. Y'all, look, I'm spiritual, I'm a healer, but I'm a very real ass individual. So for me, this is exactly how I walk with God. And it's the same way I speak and I think about and I pray over my friends and I'm really genuine with my intention on the things that I want for the world, especially the reason why I'm trying to do what I do. One
yeah,
of the reasons is to build this community, definitely, so we can get this shit together for our communities, our brown communities, our BIPOC community, everybody, everybody. We need some type of safe haven in the land of evil. It's very dark, and there's a message also in my brand that I preach about that too, because love is light. There's no light without love. Like you can't
yeah.
there
The
there
genuine type of love, anyway.
exactly. I mean, all emotions are transferred, genuinely enough, truthful. Like if you hate somebody and you really show hate to somebody, that hate will sit inside of you and it will brew in you and then you brew and it will continuously. It's very infectious, just like love. But I always say it's so much easier to love because there's no complications, especially if you throw in the unconditional part of it. People forget that love has to be unconditional. I don't give a fuck what nobody.
Hmm.
Somebody gonna say today, "Oh, love is conditional." I say, "Oh, is love conditional?" I say, I mean, sometimes how could it be? Oh, well, when they're talking about selfishness, the moments that you feel like you need to take care of yourself in the midst of self-love. And I say, yeah, that's true. So that means we're just containing ourselves so that we don't get hurt and abused. Yes, there's boundaries that we set up for ourselves, but we have to have healthy ones too. We can't
Right.
just believe that we have to be selfish in order to accomplish that. That's
Hmm.
not how we do that.
Hmm.
So, you know, just love is light. It's supposed to feel free and it's supposed to give. It's supposed to continuously give. That's just what a partnership is. It's just like in couples, relationships, love relationships, just like what we're here to talk about today.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
here to talk about today, that's a reciprocated notion. Love has to be reciprocated. That's why I always talk about when people talk about they love someone and they hurt them, and then the person that is receiving the pain or the hurt or they still love that person unconditionally. A lot of the times, it takes a
Hmm.
lot. It takes a lot to put up with that shit, but it's love. It's because it's so powerful. And we need to talk about the reciprocation in those relationships and what we are looking for, just like what B. Simone was talking about.
So
Okay.
yes, so reciprocation. So really quick, just to paint some context for the listeners and the viewers, we Jess and I were supposed to interview or record this for a Valentine's Day special so we could talk about relationships. But you know what? It's been a week-long discussion with y'all, and content keeps popping up in my timeline where I'm like, okay, we're just gonna talk about this. So
Talk
B
about
Simone is super trending right now because on Instagram, she recently released this video message talking about having to be equally yoked with your partner. Like if you are making a list, because like I was that woman. I like still am that woman. Like I'm currently in a relationship, but I still have a list of expectations
that I hold my partner accountable to, you know, realistic ones, of course. So the question is, like, when we're asking for this type of partner, I want him to be tall. I want him to, you know, work out. I want him to be healthy, have a good relationship with his mama, yada, yada, yada. We're asking for someone when the question we should be asking, am I doing these things for myself in order to be deserving of that partner? So I say deserving, and I know this is going to trigger a lot of people because it's like, well, of course I deserve that. Yes, of course. We all deserve love. We all deserve to be treated like queens and kings. We deserve it. But when you were talking about reciprocation, so it's like with anything, it's not just relationships, intimate ones. It's with your family. It's with your friends. It's empathy and reciprocation. So I'm asking him to be in shape and be healthy, but am I being in shape and being healthy? Like, am I being a hypocrite because I'm expecting that out of my partner, but I'm not doing it for myself? But then when my partner holds me accountable, I get upset about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's where B. Simone was talking about in terms of equally yoked. So what was interesting is that she got dragged.
And that was only, look, what people don't understand about that is that was only one level to the shit. Literally one level to the shit, because that is speaking only to a certain amount of women. Specifically,
Exactly.
I always try to say, I say this constantly. What everything is on the internet is not for everybody.
That part.
Everybody wants to fit themselves into the category as if that is where they're at.
And then be like, I cancel, or like be a part of the cancel culture because they don't agree with someone's philosophy or opinion. It's like, what?
Right. Yeah, and that's sad. You know, we always see the dragging, and I know she's probably been dragged enough. She probably already over it. She knows what's
She was dragged last year because she was talking about how she didn't want to date she wanted to date a man who was a CEO and not working a 9 to 5.
Yeah,
and people
took for her because that's her tax bracket. I feel like I always say that too because it makes sense to me.
Right. Like, I'm like, I feel like when you're in that, when you're making a certain amount of money, or if you're, you know, have a business, when you're in a certain level in life and you are handling different types of things, like, I don't know what it's like to run $1 million company. I don't know what it's like to have $100,000 in my bank. Like, I feel like you acquire this different type of mentality and energy in order to maintain and acquire that lifestyle. So if I date someone who has not experienced any level of that, and, you know, I have to feel like I have to not lower my standards, but like come down to a level to where I can level with them and kind of help them understand where I'm at. I'm like, to be honest with you, I don't want to do that. I want someone who's already there.
But to each his own, and this is why the internet is so evil. It's like, why are we always putting ourselves even up to the expectation of other people's relationships? So my whole thing is, look, you gonna be different from me. I already know, because look, you are in a relationship. I am single.
Yeah.
So in my aspect is like, okay, well, where am I at in my situation, and what do I feel like I deserve? And this is the funny thing about that Kevin Samuels guy. I love him. He's actually great. I love this guy. I think he's amazing because he basically says a lot of the shit that I've been saying for years, but I'm a younger version of him, probably a lot nicer because, I mean, and I try not to I try not to be on the internet and be flashy or being famous or celebrity or anything like that. So a lot of the people that are familiar with me and know my life coaching and things like that, and they understand me as a person, these are the people that get to benefit from my harsh ass reality of love, relationships, in life, because this is real. I say this because I'm like, I'm in a tax bracket. I'm actually in a specific lifestyle in my life to where, okay, equally yoked means something completely different for me. Completely me. So I'm not looking for a CEO, and I say looking, I emphasize looking like that, because women should not be looking for anything. They be definitely, just like, I mean, and I don't like to bring up religion, and because I'm not a religious person, but a lot of people can relate to this, because some people on your platform are religious, they're Christian, whatever their religious is. religion is, but it's spiritually, period. Even in a lot of the books, from Genesis and, just so many of the books, even in the Bible, speak on the idea that women are treasures. And treasures, we don't we don't necessarily look for our own treasure. We are the treasure, and women are. And this is the
Mm.
thing that we talk about all the time. And I'm about to do a shout out real quick to Cam Gnarly, because I love
Hey.
his song Shorty's World, because it really talks about that the gift of a woman in the presence of now, where women have been, where we come from, who we are as God's greatest gift. Let me not let me not offend some people off. I like to do that though. Sorry.
Hey, I'm like, so as I told you
I
before, I'm like, we gonna ruffle some feathers, girl. Speak your truth.
got a lot of men understand this though, and this is great. These are the type of men that I involve myself around, because this is the type of men that understand that, and even being an alpha male. How about that? I'll say that, because alpha male can identify a woman as a queen, as a goddess, as something
Mm.
to be cherished as well. Why do those men and all their alpha can uphold a woman and treat her like the queen that he found, like the treasure that God said he was going to find, like the one that he said he was going to find? He found me. I'm the treasure. So look, let's say that my treasure is, I'm capping about 50K a year. About 50K a year. I'm capping about that with whatever. I'm fine. Laugh. I don't care. I'm a great
Laugh at that,
person.
girl. Girl,
Look,
you cool. You
I used to be
cushion.
a
You good.
I'm not in the matrix anymore, and I'm a full-time entrepreneur and no 9 to 5. Come on, my boss,
Hey.
get my money's up. But look, realistically, that's a man that has a pretty decent job, right? That's a man that has a 9 to 5 himself. That's a
Yep.
man that, may have a child himself. I definitely prefer men with children, and I can say that on my platform. I can say that while I'm speaking on your platform. I prefer to date men with children. I do, and for me, that's equivalent, because I feel like there's just a maturity level, there's a certain amount of
Yep.
understanding, and that's my preference.
Absolutely.
That's not, I'm making a man have kids. I'm not making these men have no babies that find me. I'm not doing that. I'm not putting nobody into no category. I'm just, and this is trial and error. And this is funny about single people and people and their expectations about the dating life. It's like, be realistic and
Yeah.
be realistic with yourself.
Yep.
I'm tons of realistic with myself, and it's funny because I think the guys that I do attract, unfortunately, I think they always have they have this misconceived notion about who they think I am, and maybe
Yeah.
trying to keep with an unrealistic lifestyle around me, trying to be something more than, and I'm like, whoa, 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 chill out, homie. I'm not even that girl. I can't even give you that stuff that you think that I want from you. So it's okay.
Mm.
I'm not asking you for Mastros every weekend, nigga. I'm not for a Birkin bag and some Louis Vuittons. I'm not doing that to
Right.
you.
Right.
So you guys, and this is why the internet is so sickening, because that is why people see that stuff and they're like, oh my God, like, yes, I need to have that too. Like, some people can't handle that information that's coming at them.
No, they can't. They
It's
can't.
meant for them. That's for like other people.
Yeah.
And I realistically know where I fall at in a line of where, and not to say, and this is what I'm about to touch on. Look, let me say this. That's not to say that I can't pull a man that is a CEO, because trust me and believe me, baby, yeah, baby. I have dated who I wanted in the past. Trust me, and
Mm.
I'm not bragging or boasting like in a, oh, I'm all that in a bag of chips type. But trust me, I've been able to pull different type of tax brackets. I haven't had a lacking thereof in that. I'm a woman who can choose if I would like to, and I don't. And I'm not putting that on nobody. I'm not saying that anybody has to be like that. And oh, and I even hate that how it's even sounding right now, because I'm like, oh, because I
No,
don't
because I
know.
was gonna say I made a note because I'm
And
like I can
people
imagine.
all the way around.
Yeah, no,
to
I
me.
can imagine, and I want to highlight this because your energy, and again, y'all, if you're listening to this, I really invite you to watch the YouTube video of this. Your energy just jumps off the screen, like it exudes on the screen. And what I'm loving about this is that you are owning your truth unapologetically. And to some, it could come off pompous, and it could come off like, oh, she's doing too much. And it's interesting because that was the reaction B. Simone was getting from a lot of women. And I love it. You know
And I
why I
love
love it?
it.
Because I've been able to identify and embrace the love for myself because I recognize the self confidence in myself. I
You
recognize it in
are
you.
who you are. Now we can
Hmm.
be. Oh, look, I can be very truthful about me being maybe a shitty person at one moment in life.
Girl,
I
same.
don't have
Girl,
a lot.
same.
I don't have a lot of instances, but I'm sure I have been a bitch, and I talk about it all the time. But even in my good light, if I feel like I'm a good person, or so, I'm gonna be like, oh, I am. That doesn't frighten me, or it doesn't make me feel like I need to tame my light for nobody else. Because honestly, I
Yes.
think that's just come with the
Yes.
territory. I have people. I've said this millions of times since I was a little girl, been misunderstood, even by my whole entire family. Try being the black
I
sheep to the
can
world. I don't. I can't look. I can't. I wouldn't
I
want
can
that on you.
relate
I
so
that
hard.
I don't see that for nobody else. Look, I see everybody. And I look, and that's why I could identify with everybody too, because I love everybody
Mm,
and I love each quality because so many people just scream like, oh, like, for me, if I was able to be in an environment where I wasn't as judged as maybe, I'd probably be more inviting all the time and being around others. But I have literally secluded myself from people a lot in my 20s. And so for me, in my 30s, coming across alliances and relationships that are very valuable, are very taken serious to me.
yes.
So love and relationships, just understanding the space that I was in when I didn't trust people. And I ran a bit away from people, and definitely loving relationships. People always ask me, why am I single? And I love hearing the excuses after they ask me and answer it for me.
Don't you love that when it's just
Like a
like I
lot.
love how
I'm
you're
like, oh,
assuming. Yeah.
I'm
What's the
like,
number
I
one? What's the
think
most
you
common answer you
buddy.
get? What's the most common answer that people tell you why you're single?
Oh, they always, I mean, that's the first thing. You must be crazy. That's the first thing.
Isn't that ain't
Yeah.
that some shit? Ain't that some shit?
Because I'll be like, I get really excited. Because now it's been a thing where I do get excited about that because it is the most common thing. Because I mean, I think that's what most people do, and I've seen it. I've seen it on movies. We've seen it on TV shows. We've seen it everywhere. We've seen it
Hmm.
on. We've seen it.
And it's
And then
interesting because I feel
they
like
on black
mm,
women.
I feel like by men saying that because I've gotten that too. The 2.5 seconds that I was single in my life, like it's like, oh, you must be crazy, or like there must be something like about you, and it's like that's interesting because I feel like the subtle message behind that is like you need a man to validate you, like you're single, something must be wrong. Instead of being like, is that by choice? Like maybe
Yeah.
I'm just trying to heal and not be in a relationship. Like, holy shit.
So I got a homie that literally talks about Kevin Samuels every day, and I love this. I love this man. We be bickering and shit back and forth on social media and stuff, but he is cool as shit.
I've
Shout out
never
to
heard of
CJ.
Kevin Samuels.
He's freaking amazing. He's freaking amazing. But he talks about the he talks about like stuff like that, and I'm like, me. I'm sorry, I lost my track of thought for a second, but
No, that's okay.
where was I? What was he talking
Oh,
about?
we were talking about how when a man says like, "Oh, you must be crazy," it
Oh
feels
yeah,
like yeah, they're hinting at or like there's like this subtle message of like you need a relationship or
yeah,
to
okay, yeah.
validate
So
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I was at. Yeah, I'm so sorry, y'all.
No, you're good. That's why I'm here,
I
girl.
had
That's why
that
I'm
little
here.
recap
That's
shit.
why I'm
That's what
here to
that.
reel it back.
Thank you. Appreciate you, girl. Anyway, so yeah, no, for real. It's funny because it's become such a toxic environment to understanding that that's the only way that people have been single. Like that's the only way. Like why are you single? Because you just ain't got no man. You're not good enough to be with nobody. You must be
Mm,
crazy. Like all that stuff, and it's like me and my homie, we go back and forth because he was also one that understood who I was. He knew like I identify with the male species a lot more than the women kind, sometimes more so. I just have that duality of the mind, and for me, I can tap in with my brothers and we could talk about shit like this all the time. So he felt like he
I
seen
feel
me
you.
and identified with me, but what he didn't understand was is that when he would see me, like I would tell him like, oh, he'd be like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going on a date. He's like, oh, is this? And I'm like, no, I'm just going on a date. Like, and it's funny because there will be no expectations, but according to him, oh, women are like this, that, and the other. And I'm like, but I'm not even like that. Like, I mean, I would just like to spend 2 hours with a gentleman and hear what he has to say without any expectations of really
Mm,
being guy for the rest of my life. Like, not every guy is gonna meet that. I don't walk on into any date that I feel like is gonna be like that. I really do hope that I'm treated with respect and things like that. I get excited about the dates that I go on where I'm like, oh, okay, let's see, like, if this, because obviously I clearly gave you a pass to fucking get my number and talk to me, because a lot
right,
of people,
right,
I don't give that shit out. Like, I don't. So clearly, it's
right.
like if I give you that time.
Already, this is a gift. The fact that you got
Yeah,
this
if I
far.
give you the time of the day, of course I'm a little excited about going on a little date. So I do. I be looking
Right.
all cute. I be dressed up. I be looking cute and shit. I be trying to look cute.
You
But I still
know?
don't attach myself to no expectations. I will sit at a dinner date and hear what you have to say and see how the chemistry flows, and then that's it. I'm not looking to bone more than likely, and I'm definitely not, and if that's a situation that comes to the end of a date, I always express that to women. Then yes, if that is your sexuality, don't be afraid or don't be feeling like, oh,
Yes.
but definitely still respect a man, because I just like you would want to be respected, respect a man. I always say the reciprocation, still with
Absolutely.
love, all that has to be equal.
Absolutely.
You
Yep.
don't want to be treating a man like he's just a piece of meat. I
What's
mean,
that old elementary saying? Treat others as you treat yourself. Like, as you would
yeah,
treat yourself is real. Like, it's facts.
yeah. So I'm not about to be going on a date just like looking for you like you a snake. Like, no, like, no.
Right,
Like, but
right.
definitely have some class, and that's what I always say. Because even with the gentleman, you ain't got to try to be, look, because if a woman gonna want to toss it to you, you ain't got to be doing nothing extra just to be doing it. And ooh, girl, we could talk about these topics all
I
day.
mean, that's why we here. No, like absolutely. I completely
I've been
resonate with
talking
that.
to
And
the
what
men.
huh?
I've been talking to the men for a long time. Like some of my best friends, like some of my closest homies, they know what's up. They be like, dang. I be like, yes, because you need to check yourself. Some men, especially I know a good men that be getting played and getting dog dirt and everything, and they be real good men. I be like, no, don't switch up. Just still keep, have hope. Because my thing is, like you said in the beginning of this conversation, everybody deserves love. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not about materialistic things that you deserve, and going back to the B Simone thing, since we did kind of get off track, I'm sorry.
It all
Going back to
connects. It all connects.
her is, she is a self-made woman. She is a self-made woman. I remember when she started on Instagram, when she barely was being like, she was funny as shit, like just like Cardi B. They was
Right.
both funny like that. They really were genuinely funny in the beginning and everything. And not to say that she's not now. She's great. She's still amazing. I love her, where she's at in her career. I'm glad that she did have like a couple HIPAA hookups, but she's very resilient. And I admire women like that, because that's the woman that
Same.
I see in myself.
Yep.
I am a woman who has had hookups. I am a woman who has fallen down. I know what it feels like to have fallen and spiraled. I know
Right.
what it feels like, and I am a huge mental health advocate. And I feel like definitely B Simone has been through that just recently. I've watched
You can
her
see it.
career. Yes, I've watched her through her career and where she started, how young-minded I felt like she was, because she is younger, and she's younger in age a little bit to me, but that's my niche. I help younger women too, younger, not just younger women, but older women. Shoot, I got older women like my cousins still come to me and talk to me about their problems, especially even in their marriages. I don't like people like, oh, you single, da, 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 like you can't help nobody. What you mean I can't help nobody? I'm single because I need to be.
Mm.
I'm single because I need to be, not because I want to be. That's the funny thing, because that Kevin Samuel talks about that, and he talks about the delusion of that. And it's funny because yes, women are very delusional when they say, "Oh, I don't want to be. I'm single because I don't want, because I want to be." And I said, "No, but is it because you want to be, or is it something that you did that caused you to be the reason why you can't keep a fucking man?
So to emphasize fully on that point, because it's like, as she crossed her arms, like, girl, like, I love it. It's auntie vibes. Like, listen, but I can fully relate to that because I have been in long-term relationships pretty much my entire 20s going into my 30s. Like, that's just who I am. Like, whatever. That's neither here nor there. But I did notice a pattern about myself. So in each relationship, and I'm going to be honest, like, there were bumps along the way where I noticed that they began to get their attention taken away. And it made me ask, like, of course you get upset, you can lash out, you know. In the first relationship I did that, but then when it happened again, I was like, okay, I got to ask myself something, because it can't just be every single person that I'm dating. Like, it can't be everyone.
How many relationships in your 20s did you have that made you feel that?
I've only had two, and that's how I felt in two. So the first one, I feel like
term,
very long term, very long term. So it's an interesting dynamic because I've been able to go through my journey of self-healing while in a relationship. And it's tricky because you don't want to heal yourself for someone else. You want to make sure you're healing yourself for yourself. So that was very, very important for me. And I made sure that I honed in on that. Like, am I making this change for me because this is who I see myself being without this person, with or without this person?
Yeah.
Or am I doing it because
That's
like I want to like keep him? You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
foundational.
what?
Yeah.
Huh?
That's very foundational. Like, very foundational.
Like, man,
that's something that I always preach about, for sure.
Like, man, and I appreciate that, and like, women need to hear that. And so when I realized and noticed, like, okay, first I made the decision, do I want to make this relationship work? Is it worth saving? Does it have a foundation enough where we can fix this? So grateful that I'm with someone who is on the same journey and gives me the empathy and chooses love every single day and chooses the relationship every single day. And I was given the space to figure it out. And it was one of those, it's like, I don't know if this is going to work out. I don't know, I don't know what's going to happen. But I reached a point where I was okay with either decision because I knew that I was going to be good. And I recognized things about myself. Like, I asked myself a question. I was like, okay, we've been in a relationship for a few years. We're now at this point where, like, I don't know if we're going to make it. I really don't know if we're going to make it. So instead of externalizing the questions to my partner, like I usually do, I internalize them. And I asked myself, if I was the man of my dreams, if I was literally, like B. Simone was saying, that's why I fucking love this video that she put out, because it is an actual exercise that life coaches like yourself tell people to do. So I'm like, regardless of the vessel, y'all need to listen. So I asked myself, if I was the man that I keep asking for, would I wife me? Like, would I marry me? Girl, I had to sit my ego down. I had to tell her to shut the fuck up. And my response was, no, I would not. I would not wife me. I would not marry me. And I named all the reasons why. And then I worked on it from there.
Wait.
Robot.
Looking at yourself in the mirror. Yep. That's where it starts. I don't care what nobody say. I can make a song out of that.
But you know what happened? I had a partner who held up a mirror to me and handed it to me and said, I love you, but I cannot fix you. Girl, death to the ego. Death to the ego. It's Eugene.
Oh.
It's my partner now.
That's your man. That's your look, because that's your man.
Mm-hmm.
He chose, like you said, he chose love because that's what it is. Somebody, what did we say earlier? Oh my God, we was just talking about that. Somebody said it made it like uncool to want to be with somebody for the rest of their life.
Okay, so on the couple episodes before with Daniel Michaels, the episode is called Are Hoes Really Winning? He said something where he was like, what happened to the days where women wouldn't get attacked by saying they need a man? And it was interesting because I couldn't even chew on that. Like, I've been so programmed to be like, I don't need a man. I can do it all by myself. Like, when I was an artist for a year, I was going to name my album that. Like, I could do it all by myself. Eugene still makes fun of me to this day. Like, you going to do it by yourself? I'm like, shut the fuck up.
You know what? You want to know what's so crazy? You saying that? I've just had a flashback of my whole entire life. I don't remember a time that I said that. I don't.
Really?
I remember there's been times where this is the only thing that I've ever said. My dad raised me to be an independent woman. And independent woman is just how I keep it. I don't say, oh, no nigga did this, no nigga. I don't harp on men. And you want to know what's crazy? I just freaking just realized this. Because on social media, my platforms mean a lot to me and what my brand is. And
You're
so
very intentional with your posts. Yes.
Yes, and I always want to give to men as well. And the message that I have behind that is that in my years of being let down, being cheated on, being lied to, being abused mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just everything torn down by any man that I've ever allowed myself to feel connected to and loved, I have never said that I don't need a man. I don't think I've ever said that.
Wow.
And powerfully, and as powerful, and I know that sounds crazy because some people think that that's, I'm like, no, I've never said that. And it's people because like they know I'm very real, so I'll say crazy shit about what niggas do, but I'll be like, that's because it's true. Half of the shit be true. I be saying that most of the shit that motherfuckers don't be wanting to say, people don't be really wanting to hear.
You
And
have the
that's
conversations
not
that are
me in trouble
hard but necessary, and that's why I fucks with you. Like,
all the time. So for me, I'll be like, well, shit, that's what niggas really be doing. But I have never bashed a man. I've never spent no energy on my platform to ever say, sorry, y'all, to ever
gotta
say,
get it right. I love the unapologetic. Like, this is what I live for. This is the raw, uncandid energy that is like, yes, yes.
I don't look like I don't know how to do an interview. I do know how to do an interview, y'all. I got some common sense, but look, y'all already
This
know.
platform's different, girl.
I
This
like to
platform's
be.
different.
My energy is so turdy sometimes. I like to be goofy. Y'all know I like to be silly. So, but no, oh my God. So yeah, no, niggas like they be doing some shit, but I never said like I never needed one. Only because I understand that I overstand that I will. And because men and women should not be living without each other. And unfortunately that's really
You're
the
gonna
thing.
trigger you're gonna trigger a lot of listeners, and I love it. So it's like, can we unpack? It's like, because it's like, me as someone who's gotten as far as I've gotten in my self journey, even myself now, I'm like, I have to chew on that because I don't even personally know how to unpack that. I recognize that there's power in those words, but as someone who has been taught to think, I don't need a man, I don't need a man, and I've adopted that, I'm like,
That's our
what
age.
does this mean? You
It's
know?
don't feel bad. It's our age group. I like look, I'm a rarity. I've always
You're
seen
an
things
old soul. I was like, you've been
different.
here many times before, girl.
Yeah, I've definitely. I'm here by second wave. You know, everybody knows I'm an alien. Like I speak like this is who I really am. Like I don't even talk regular. Like seriously, you already know. I'm different. I'm different. But and it's not to say that it's better than anything. It's just my perspective. And I
Yes.
understand everybody has different perspective, and I just want my perspective sometimes to be respected, only because it's not that it's the end all be all. And I say that because I say that to everyone else. I open the door to everyone else's feelings and the things that they understand about their lives in the world, so that they could process. And not everything that everybody says is always valid, and not to say that that's not where I live at in my mind, but because I'm very realistic with myself. I have like my EQ is retarded. My self-awareness is very high. I didn't get this far in life without it. And I
Mm-hmm.
thank the creator for that every day. I thank God for my being. I thank God who I am, my species, and what I am able to provide for myself, and to be able to exude that back out and give it to other people. Like that's
Yes.
really, it's
That's what it's
being a
about.
it's really being a vessel, because it's just like it's not even about looking what I look like. It's
Yeah.
like Jessica presented as this body to be able to flush out a tremendous amount of love and understanding
Mm.
and wisdom to people. So whether I'm just saying some shit that might be able to be triggered, it's just it could be very detrimental to understand, to save your own life. Like, I don't be saying
And
a lot of this shit to say it.
mhm.
That's what I be trying to tell people too. A lot of people are very opinionated based. I always say I still run with facts based. It's right or wrong. It's either or. It's not or anywhere in between, because of the fact that there's too much fluff in opinion
Yeah.
that can cause other people to question themselves, and people are very easily deterred. And it's crazy because that's the human species. That's really how it is. It's like, oh, we just feel like we know everything, and then boom, ooh, it just take one person. It could take your mom. It could take our fucking dog. Our dog to make it like,
Have you
oh,
questioning everything?
oh, I need to go to
Oh my.
Australia so I can, you know, so I can do mission work. I just need to do, I don't know. My dog just told me, like, I just looked at my dog and my dog was
We had a
like,
moment and the TV, like this infomercial came on about children in
you
Africa,
mean
and
they're
I was
so,
like, it was a sign.
yeah. Like, and
I
so,
saw this meme today. Hold on, it was really, really funny because you know how everyone's into numerology. It's like some of y'all be putting way too much into signs. You need 222. Look, 444. A job. Like I was like, yo, I love the balance. I
oh
love the balance.
my God. It's so funny because I'd be like, that is so right. Like, I love these memes. Like, I live, so that's the part of internet that I live for,
Right. Memes are
is the
life.
entertainment and the laugh and the comedy, the
Yeah.
memes all day, our day. I'm there. That's what I love. I'm gonna actually start doing skits my damn self. I can't
I
wait, and that's
can't wait. I can't.
hopefully
Oh,
that's a but I mean, everybody that's listening to this, they can
it's
hear.
an
But
exclusive. It's an
coming,
exclusive.
coming, it's probably coming at the end of 2021 too, because I'm excited. I'm really ready to do my full-time entrepreneurship. So this is exciting in my
The
life.
world
So
is ready for you. Like we need more podcasts. Like with Love by Jess, like what I love about that podcast is like, like you're kin to what Culture Fuzz is about. Like you're a facilitator of conversation, you're a facilitator of safe spaces, which we need more than fucking ever right now. A place of non-judgment, a place of empathy and understanding and being like just today I was just talking about taking the time to understand someone's journey so that you're able to empathize with them and possibly find a way to connect through
yeah,
using their words, using their psychology. Because I feel like a lot of people, a lot of times people come at people through their own eyes. Like, I'm using my slang, I'm using my philosophies, I'm using my life experiences, and the other person is like, cool, can't relate. But if you take yourself out of it and you ask them questions like, okay, where are you from? Like, take note of their lingo, their slang, what school they went to, what their hobbies are, you can really find ways to connect with
that's
their
like
world
that's
through their world.
That's psychology 101. That's the part I think some people miss, and it's funny because those are the people who want to be in that, but they don't get it, and maybe they don't even.
Because they operate from ego.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny because like I remember when the first time I ever was able to take my first psychology class, I was only in that class for like a week, and I was so mad because I was like really excited to take it, but
I
it
love
was
psychology.
extremely it was an extremely amazing class. It was actually a psychology class on basically how people tick and how people think, psychological, like why people do things. And for me, that was my niche, but I only made it in a week because the freaking class was brand new. It was a brand new class, like it was like developed, and so I took it, and all the new books were new, and so the
Uh-huh.
book was like $600.
Girl,
Nothing,
that's people's
there was
rent.
nothing to preserve. And girl, I remember I was so devastated. I was like, and at that time, I was not as, and it's funny because people are like, Jessica, you're not shy, you're not this, you're not that. And I say, yes, because I did not want to be, because at the time I was, my son was younger too. So I just was like, I'm not mingling with nobody new at the school to try to get on a book with them.
Mm,
I was being an introvert, like a hella
I can
hard.
relate. Yep.
So
Yep.
I dropped out of the class, and it was crazy, but I ended up spending some time reading and other things that I felt very instrumental in how I wanted to understand and learn. Because
Yeah.
school was always going to be a financial burden for me, and it was very a rocky road for me, financially, especially because the first school that I ever had was like a loan. I took out a loan, and then therefore my whole situation got fucked. So yes. School was
Girl,
like
you don't know how many
down
people
battle
you
for
do
me.
know how many people have gone through that. Like,
Yeah,
yes,
that's why
yes.
I'm like, man, I might be the one of the most relatable people on this planet. I done everything. I don't.
Relatable AF.
I'd be like, there ain't a job that I ain't did. There ain't shit that I don't do. I said I've done been. Guess what? I've been everywhere, and I look. Shouts to South because 2021. I'm going to the South this year. I'm going
Hey, where in the South?
to, my first pit stop is to go to Atlanta, so I'm about to go to Atlanta for the first time. So
Oh my
I'm
gosh, I
excited.
feel I feel like Atlanta was like made for you. Like you're
You know,
just gonna
so
love it there.
I feel like God definitely kept me away from the South for a reason. I'd be
I
like,
laugh because I'm like, facts.
'cause it would always be like, oh, I want to go to Miami. Ooh, and I never
It's
really
like, girl, you
desired.
ain't ready.
Oh, only at one point in my life, and some people might know the insight to this and why, but there was only one point in my life I really wanted to go to Atlanta, and that was during the time, college. We was in college and we was popping 2008. Everybody was like, we was dipping, and that would have been the time to be alive because I love going to some strip clubs. I was like, I was up, I was deep into the
Oh,
strip clubs
this
out
is the
here.
other side of Jess. That's the ATL Jess.
Bear. That's the other Care Bear, the bad Care Bear. What's the other Care Bear that's bad?
I have no idea. There's a bad Care Bear. I didn't
I
watch Care Bears like that.
look, see, but I need to make a bad Care Bear look, and then that's how I'm gonna tell everybody why, because everybody know I'm a Star Wars geek. So the Care Bear that lives inside of me is Darth Vader, and it's a Care Bear because I have a stuffed animal Care Bear from like what's that place? There's
That
a
Build a Bear?
Build a Bear, and I made
Yeah.
a bear one because that's the dark side in
I
me. So
love it. You've identified, is that like your shadow self? Is that like,
it's one of my it's an alter ego. I always tell
I
people
love
to
it.
understand the ego, having ego, not having ego, and then who you personify as in your other realm or your other side. I always
Right.
Darth Vader. So yeah,
I love
like
that. Why Darth Vader? Can I ask why you've identified that part of yourself as Darth Vader?
yeah, because Darth Vader. Like a lot of people don't understand. Like for me, I truly identify with the dark side regardless, and this is exactly what my post was talking about today. I was actually talking about duality in my post on Instagram.
Mm.
And in order to really fully love yourself, you gotta love all the parts of you, and that truly means accepting the shitty parts of you too.
Yup.
Ain't
Yup.
a shitty person, but look, how come Darth Vader was Luke's father? I always identify that with how the spirit realm is. Even with Jesus Christ, like I always be like, because with Jesus, we always knew that he was a saint, but he was very looked at bad and bad upon and shunned out and talked shit about and blah blah blah. So that we know the story of we know the story of Jesus Christ. We know stories about a lot
Hmm.
of people in the dark light too. And that's the funny thing because I know people that think, I mean, it's weird out here, man. I know people that think God and Jesus Christ are evil people. But it's weird because it's like, or people, and that's weird for me to even say because I don't even believe that it's like a body, like it's a vessel. We know that it's
But people
spirit.
actually believe that. They give energy to that. Like, yeah. No, yeah. I'm like
Yeah,
that.
and I be
I
talking in
forget
human
about
form
those
a lot.
people.
Because a lot of people, and I do try to talk in human form a lot too, because human people, and like I say, human form, I talk in human form a lot because that's how people identify. When they hear me, sometimes it's too far fetched when I talk in a spiritual realm, or I
Yeah,
might be talking
absolutely.
crazy in their
Yes.
opinion, crazy. And this is what that's why I always love when people say I'm crazy because I'll be like, oh, I love getting excited
It's
about
like, oh, that's that
this.
woo
I'm
woo.
crazy.
And it's all like, I believe in woo woo. I love the woo woo.
Woo, woo, woo. Woo.
Exactly. Woo 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 woo, baby. Yeah, 1000%. And like, what I
Yeah.
love about that and what I think helps drive the point, with this platform, with these conversations, is that every villain has a story.
Mhm.
Every shadow side has a story. Like, I don't believe people were born bad. I believe circumstances made them who they needed to be.
Yeah.
And
A lot of
it's
people.
our job our obligation, I feel, to understand that.
Oh,
So,
let me show you something.
oh, yes, 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 yes. Bing.
This is my most famous book that I love to show people that I own. And it's funny because I found this book in high school. I was only 16, 17 years old when I found it. No, 16. Yeah, I was only 16 years old when I found this book. My friend Sparkle at the time, she had brought it to school, and she was into the same shit, and I was like very creepy at the time. Look, I identified as everything. I hung out with the cheerleaders. I hung out with the emo kids. So I was like
That's
all gory.
incredible.
I love gory, I love horror, but like for me, like I always understood like why people tick, and this is one of my favorite books, and so I'm gonna show it because this is like a
Ooh, the
killer encyclopedia.
Encyclopedia of Serial Killers. Oh
Yeah.
shit, that looks interesting.
Yeah, so the thing that got me when back in high school, which it made me had to own it. I had to own this book because I also knew it was a part of what I wanted to do later on in life. And a lot of people don't know this. I used to want to be a lawyer back in the day, and I used to want to be a criminal lawyer. I used to want to be up in the jails. I used to want to be talking to these people and trying to understand. And then on a psychological tip, if had I had my career went into being a doctor, I would have definitely worked with people who are ill. This talks about mental illness. It definitely talks about the environment people are in. I always say that people, and sometimes I do, and it's funny because people are like, "Just because you bullshitting right now," because I'm like, "Yeah, some motherfuckers do be born evil as fuck." I be like,
Maybe.
Lord, I feel like, look, I believe in good people. I believe in bad people. It's the same way I believe in devils, and I believe in demons, and I believe in angels. I
Mm-hmm.
say I feel like there's a creation in somehow all of us, and not everybody is the light. And I always try to even say that to people too. A lot of people are within themselves a dark entity that is born, and it's not necessarily. And this is why, I mean, I don't know, it gets deep for me because it can be that way in a spiritual realm, and then that's where the disconnect for some people they can't make. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not. And this is what I genuinely say about people who are lesbian and gay, in the LGBT community as well. People who I can identify with, who I believe are born feeling or believing that they are that way, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very logical that that's their emotion and their feeling,
I see.
versus what they look like. I always say, like, because I've seen it. I've seen people literally grow up like that, like, and it can't be it's not at a certain point. I didn't see their mom and dad making them wear
Right.
dresses. If
It's
like
like you can't identify, like, there's situations where you can't necessarily identify that the environment influenced them in that way.
yeah,
Like, there's literally just some people,
yeah,
and guys, this might get woo woo for a second, but I do believe in, me personally, I believe in reincarnation. I believe in spiritual forms and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
I can understand what you're saying, that,
And the time
sometimes,
travel and the body, the vessel that we're in, who
yeah.
God created to be here in this time. I always talk about that. Like there's purpose in everyone, and I don't look at the LGBT community as not a purpose. There's a purpose in people who are of their kind, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to always say it in such a respectful way because in no way, shape, or form am I like I'm for everybody. Everybody know that. That's like for one. I am a advocate. I am a big, I am pro black is what most people call it. I am very black and I'm proud.
Hmm.
But when it comes to identifying with humans, other humans, I look at it like, okay, we are all here on the same wave together.
Yeah.
And instance, we are all spiritual beings, and not as of what I look at you. Like, I don't look at Rissa as a Mexican, Black Latina, Afro American Latina, Afro Latina.
Hmm.
I look
Hmm.
at as Rissa, the spirit, the beautiful spirit that I know to have grown to love and to
Hmm.
extend my life. So it's a difference, especially when you come from that. Like, some people don't look at it like that. Some
Yeah.
people do. They're like, they really are hell bent on the color of your skin. Maybe they are weird about the things that you have, and oh, that's the reason why you want them in your life. But
Hmm.
it's, for me, I look at everybody equally. So
Yeah.
that goes to, gay, the gay community as well.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
everybody gets the inclusion for me. So but the serial killers as well, because unfortunately, some of these people in this book, it shows, like, there's a difference between sociopaths and psychopaths and things like that, because sociopaths tend to be more environmental. They're way more
Got
traumatized
it.
by their events growing up.
Got
The
it.
reason why they act a certain way, just like a bully. A bully gets, beat up at home, he goes to school and he gets
Right.
beat up, beats other
You
people.
both, yeah.
So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
those are sociopaths, and those are people who have the tendency to want to kill people too. and
Yeah.
and I feel that, look, I've seen it. I've seen people in front of me, get killed. I've seen the horrors
Wow.
of death. I've seen it all. I grew up where I grew up in the city of Compton, and I've seen a lot of shit growing up, and growing up in my environment. Just imagine and think, because look, I think a lot of that stuff is very normal. And not that I'm pacifying it or trying to be like, it's
No,
not.
it's like speaking on experience because as someone who me myself didn't grow up around that. I wasn't exposed to that.
Mm-hmm.
Could I can kind of imagine, but I can't relate to like at such a young age witnessing some of the things that even my own boyfriend has witnessed and gone through, and I'm like, holy
Yeah.
shit, like, like I can only and to not only that, applaud y'all for still growing into and developing yourselves into these amazing, thoughtful, healthy beings, regardless of this trauma, because I've definitely seen the other side of that.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
I've seen people succumb to that.
That's why I'm in the business of doing what I'm doing, because I know I am the resilient success story of that opposite side of what it could be. And it's
Mm,
weird. I didn't ever have this about me. Like, I didn't even know that this was something that I affected a lot of people, and thousands of people even at that, before I realized who I had walked into and who I started becoming as the healer that I am. I didn't recognize it until it was being said to me more often than usual, which kind of shook me up a little bit. Like, what? Like, what you talking about? Like,
mm,
huh? And I guess I have been been used as a vessel by God for a very long time, even since I was like a little kid. So, and
mm.
this I know too to be true, because that's the amount of time that I've been walking in the spirit realm while I've been here on earth. So, and I know that gets a lot creepy. A lot of people might look at me like,
You know
what? And
what's
I'm like,
really interesting? It's like I feel very, very prompted to ask. I was like, all right, we're gonna go here. It's like, do you feel that you've been here before?
yeah, I do. I believe everything is everything. That is like, and I can say,
Everything is everything.
I could put all these little things in little euphemisms. Some people actually, they make fun of me because they always say, Jessica, you talking riddles, and I'll be like, yeah. And it's so reminiscent to the reason why I feel like I know I've been here before, which is it's so funny. I like, because me and my grandma, like, she's my ace. That's my ace.
I love that.
So weird, because my grandma, she's developed some type of loyalty to me throughout the years, even throughout my whole family. Like, everybody loves my grandma is like a rock. She is the rock that is still living in this earth, and I pay tribute. I want to pay homage to that woman every day, like, if I could, and just love on her so much, especially because she's going through the COVID thing, not being able to see people
Yeah.
and being locked away. And we miss my grandma. So everybody, but she's my rock. And she's a very wise older woman as well. She just made it to 96 last year.
Oh,
And
yes.
really, yeah, I'm really excited about her growing in the things of God continuously still. She is a warrior. She is a
Hmm.
friend. She taught me everything that I know, a lot of things that I know. So when people hear me speak, or they say, "Oh, Jessica, you sound like," I say, I owe it to her, because she was like my sensei. And I would say only because I had it inside of me. But a lot of people that are in your life, they are supposed to be able to be in your life in a way to provoke those things out of you,
Yeah.
to get you where you, because sometimes you could be stifled and you could be by yourself, and maybe you don't know how to be a
Yes.
stronger person. Say, because if I was a Cancer and I didn't fuck with my grandma, and because she's a Scorpio, because I have Scorpio in my sign too, like, because I'm a
Hmm.
Cancer, but I forgot what planet my Scorpio is in too. But me and my grandma, we identify with each other on that level, because she's the one woman that kind of puts me in check. Like, you, like, what you gonna do about it? Like, you gonna take stance for your life, or what are you gonna do? Are you gonna be that warrior woman? Are you gonna back down? Are you gonna be a
Right.
simp? A lot of Cancer women can identify with being simps, and I've never been one. So like I'm like
Yeah.
because my grandma, she instilled that in me, like, to be a fighter. And my grandma, she was actually, and one of the things that I love about her was that she has spent this last leg of her life alone without my grandfather because she was married to my grandfather.
How long were they
And
married?
they were married, shoot, for I think 30 years.
That's a
30
long
years.
time.
I think I want to say 20. Well, I would say in between 20 and 25 years. Let me give you that.
Long
Only
time.
because I don't remember what, like, I think I was born 88. He passed away in 85. Yeah, he passed away 3 years before I was, yeah. So I think
Wow.
I think it probably had to have been already that, but he passed away and I never got to meet him. But the crazy thing is, my grandma's loyalty to my grandfather is amazing. She still loves him. She still talks about him.
Hmm.
She still shows pictures. She still talks about the times where he used to have to drive her around because my grandma's from Panama, and so she didn't get no license. She didn't come here learning how to drive because it scared her to
Yeah.
drive streets because she didn't understand the roads. So she never learned to drive. And my grandfather was her chauffeur, and that's what she called it. And it was cute, and it's like she was very loyal. And so a lot of things that my grandma instilled in me and things that she taught me, the things that, and in the way that she loves continuously. Not to say that I don't even see myself holding out that long after I've been with a married, I've been in a marriage for a long time and my significant other passes away. I don't know how I would receive that, but
Right.
there is a freaking warrior. She's a
She
trooper
sounds
for that.
amazing.
Because she really understands like the companionship and the understanding and the partnership. And the funny thing is that some people are like, oh, but you still gotta have a life. And I'm like, no, I think my grandma had her life. And that's the
Yeah.
crazy thing is like she was already cool where she was at, and she has a family and a tribe. And I think some people don't have that. So then yeah, sometimes it's okay to have your life and move on with the rest of your life and go date again and maybe go get a married, but I think my grandmother was very content and happy and healthy and very aware that she had everything that she needed.
That's so
And
big.
she, yeah, because even to this day, she wants for nothing. That's a woman
Yeah.
that nothing. Because she don't need anything. She don't need material. Like, she just inspires me so much. Like, she inspires me to be the person that I am today. Like, I know she does. So with her feistiness and her heart, she definitely taught me a lot of things about love. And man, that just kind of strummed a little feeling about how I feel about Noah James and his grandmother.
Mm.
Shout
Shout out
out Noah James.
Noah. Mm-hmm.
Because his grandma, believe it or not, well, he knows that him and his grandma has helped tons of people.
Yeah.
Um,
She's a huge staple in a lot of his songs. Shout out to Noah. He's been on the Culture Fuzz platform. Go to the YouTube channel, check out my interview with him. He actually goes into depth about his relationship with his grandmother, and I want to thank him for that unwavering vulnerability from a big old strong black man. We need more of it. So yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
shout out to our brother, that's for sure. Like, him just losing his grandmother definitely kind of like set a little funny in my stomach right now because I was,
Mm.
because they are our backbones. They really have helped us no matter what they have, whatever, because as we get older, we are supposed to grow and we are supposed to understand that these people were definitely, they did all that they can for us.
Yeah.
I feel like that's pivotal in understanding and being able to move on, especially if you come from a background of trauma or pain, or maybe you weren't loved as a child, or maybe maybe your mom didn't tell you she loved you every day, or there's so many things and so many elements to our relationships with our grandparents, but for the most part, our grandparents do give us tons of things. They are even in the midst of adversity, and they give us so much jewels and so much wisdom that we definitely could use in our journey going through life. And that's what I always try to tell people too. Like with the way that I life coach, the way that I feel, it's never. I always tell people don't have to take my advice. That's like my number one. That's like my number one disclosure. I always say you don't have to take my advice. This is the first thing that I say that comes out my mouth before I know I'm about to say
I think
something
that's
crazy.
very important. I think it's that helps set the tone and takes the pressure off of the person receiving it. You know, it's like, absolutely.
Like there's no bearing on you whatsoever, because we already know, especially if you're egoless, when you are walking without ego and you've learned to master that within yourself, you understand that it should be no personal gripe to you whether or not they continue to live their life the way that they want to live. You have
That's a
to.
beautiful place to be, man.
That's, yeah, you have to, and that's. But I've like, it's something that I've always understood. I never even had to learn that. Like, it was just, I feel like I thank God all the time. Like, and this is the one thing that I love about Noah too, is that he does the 5 on love. And the one thing that I always say about myself that I really love is that I really already master those qualities as a human being, that are able to accept that in people, that are able to let people be themselves, and no, like, there's no way that I think that you should just get it right overnight. If I tell you tomorrow leave your
That
man,
part.
if I tell you tomorrow leave your man and you still canoodling with that nigga the next day, how does that even affect me? But how is that, how more importantly, how is that going to affect you?
Right.
By me putting you down over something that you should need to process and learn.
Exactly.
We have to give people, and this is what we talk about, space. I love talking about, look, let me talk about space real quick. Because space, people talk about they want to give people space all the time. And I said, well, what do you consider space? Is that meaning like, oh, okay to be whoever they want to be? Like, what does that mean to you? Because to me, it means allowing somebody to be, to definitely walk in their mistakes, allowing someone to vocalize their mistakes without you shaming them and putting them down.
Yes.
A way where we have to communicate that, yes, there is a way that we need to be able to handle these things, but with giving criticism. I mean,
Constructive.
is positive. Yes, constructive, but I like to say more positive.
Yeah.
Because constructive can still be good and right, but it is still bad how it comes off. So we can say positive, because positive is really, it can influence, encourage somebody to make a decision whether or not they want to take your advice then. Because now it's up to them whether or not they feel like, I want to take their advice or not. Because so many people, we have our levels, and there's so many levels that we can take. I might not be the person that can tolerate as much shit as my homegirl that can tolerate her man keep cheating on her 5 million times. I might not be the one to be taking that shit every day or 20 million times throughout 5 years. I can't. But that's not for me to say, oh, Nick, girl, you got to leave him, right? Maybe, what is there? And then even in that, when I'm counseling, when I'm talking to someone, what is in you? That's where we start. I talk to my friends about this all the time. Shout out to Amanda, the healer. She is an amazing healer. Someone who I learned very much a lot from. She is somebody who I love and so dearly. She's abundance of information as well. I want to shout her out too. But we talk about healing a lot, and that's because that's both of our niches. And she is always constantly talking about the reflection, and just like we were talking about earlier, the mirror. That even if we're in a shitty relationship, say the man is still doing whatever X, Y, and Z, right? We just know that it's not healthy and it's not good for you. But you are in a relationship and you want to be in that relationship. And we know that, men are going to do what they want to do too. We're all going to do what we feel like is right on our heart. But allowing that person to go through those motions shows well enough of love and care for that individual to give them a space where they feel safe to talk to you about these things for.
Yeah.
I've witnessed people who have been very abrasive and given their harsh criticism to those who needed help in those very crucial times of being in an abusive relationship or in a toxic relationship. And it didn't end in a positive way to where the person who was being victimized was safe. And they ended up hurting themselves. And that's what was the result in that. And so we can be very responsible about dishing out our opinions to our loved ones.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's got to be kind of like, it don't got to be on eggshells, but it got to be with...
There's a balance for sure. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
absolutely a balance, and you know, like I commend you for having that self-awareness, always having that self-awareness and creating the safe space. And like you said, not everyone knows what that means. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm seeing more podcasts and shows and all of this, and it's great, and they're trying to do the same thing, but it's like listening to these conversations, it's like I don't hear them taking themselves out of themselves far enough to
Mm.
try and understand the other person, because it's not my job to judge your story. It's not
Yeah.
my job to shame you. That is not why I'm here, because what you do will not affect me. It won't. But
Right.
what I do see is I see potential. I see love in you, and I see that you are deserving of being happy. And all I like to do in those moments when I do am granted those windows with people, when they come to me and they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I can't tell you what to do, but what I can do is help give you some questions that you can ask yourself to see what's right for you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, I can be that mirror for you. My job is to be your mirror. I am your tribe. I want to make sure you're happy, you're not hurting yourself, and you're good. So let's unpack this. You got
Right.
some work to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's all it is. It's like you said, people spewing opinions. Well, you shouldn't be with that nigga. He's no good. We'll do. It's like that's a moot point. That's why we're having this conversation. We know that. We get that.
Yeah.
So the deeper question is usually inside of the victim, quote unquote victim, or the person trying to receive that information. And Jess, you do an excellent job of getting that out of people, of pulling that out of them, of understanding their journey and asking intentional questions that will plant seeds, you know. And it may not resonate with them at that moment when you're talking with them. They're going to be like, I don't know what that means. But planting seeds are just as powerful
I like to
as
tell myself, like, look, I'm not that great at keeping up with my plant mama life because I've been a bad mom. But I
you're
love
learning, girl.
planting seeds. I'm like a little green thumb fairy for
Girl,
people. When it comes to people, I'll be like,
girl.
because look, that's the detachment that I need to be free myself as an empath. That's the number one thing I wanted to talk about, because we were talking about that earlier about transmuting and not holding in a lot of things, especially when you're helping other people navigate these feelings for
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
Like that. That's like a really good way to do it. Is like like for me, I just have no attachment to your outcome.
Mm,
That whatever I'm going
that,
for you
yes.
could help you, and it's not gonna not help you. I ain't gonna say no shit that's gonna get you fucked up.
Yeah.
I ain't never gonna tell you no shit that you shouldn't do that's gonna get you in the wrong situation with your man, with your woman. A lot of people, that's the reason why people come to me. That's the reason why people talk to me. They like, Jessica, I got people to this day still come to me about everything.
That's
And I
incredible.
have a tight ass confidentiality, and most motherfuckers don't know. And that's it's one of the reasons why motherfuckers don't even know I cancel. A lot of people probably don't. I'll be trying to like I'm trying to make it, because I'm like seeing all these things, like you said, podcasts popping up, everybody talking, and I'm like, well, shit. I said, well, damn, everybody gonna have my job by the end of the day.
But see, no, that's the thing.
Shit
That's the
on.
thing. It's like not everybody, number one, not everyone is having these conversations. There's a lot of fluff. There's a lot of like,
Yes, a lot of
you know,
fluff.
it's just a lot of fluff. But I
Because I
want to
think there
see,
is a movement that they're doing it, and I feel like, and this is what I don't shit on nobody's movement, because like I'll be like, look, that's all that stuff that's popping up. People are starting to feel like they got something to say. That's great, because that's
hmm
starting to stimulate. That's
hmm
showing me that people are stimulated now. That
yep.
means people are starting to actually get it, and they're coming into their awakening. That's all that says to me. So I'd be kudos. I'd be like, great, talk about it. Let's do it. But when you haven't really walked the walk and talked the talk as much, it's
Yes.
just like somebody really saying that they really about that life and they really not.
Girl, I just was in a Facebook group today. Someone had posted, you know, just because you post motivational and inspirational quotes, it doesn't make you a leader. Me being the devil advocate, I'm all like, can you elaborate on that a little bit? You know, I want to see where she's coming from with it. She's like, and literally almost to the T, she's like, you got to be able to walk the walk in order to talk the talk. Like a carpenter can have someone can have the tools of a carpenter. That doesn't make them a
Walk around
carpenter.
all day looking like I'm right going in your house. I'm a plumber. No, and damn
Ain't never worked on a pipe a day in your life.
what I look like trying to scam you out of your $500.
Yeah.
That's what the fuck I'm trying to do, because that's exactly what a lot of motherfuckers do on
And
the
that's
internet.
what's happening. That's what's happening right now.
That's why I be so mad. I be trying to say, like, you be like, just go use some master, because I be trying to, and I would be really mad because I'm.
No, I know. Yeah, no, I get it.
But I be like, really? Because
yeah,
this
that's
is why
holding them accountable.
Because I told you, this is why I said this is perfect timing. B. Simone said it at the right time, because I want to also bring the controversy to the idea that it's funny, like we was talking about earlier, like not everything is for everybody, but just to be an inspirational speaker after your awakening of your life. How soon can you start telling everybody to do this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 because I'm still hoping and praying that this is your equal yoked too. Because beware, we all seen it with celebrities, what they do. Oh, this is my loved one. I love him forever. And, da, 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 and then 20 years later, 2 years later, it's like a divorce. I'd be like, oh, Lord. Because everybody want everybody in their business.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I feel like her business got spread, and I felt like she was doing it the right way, because I felt like she kept her relationship under wraps. And I always
because I didn't even know about it till you said something today. I was like,
when you're a celebrity, you have to. I always say, people, and this is what in artist development I always talk about. Relationships are key. Keeping your shit private. Certain things for PR, certain things ain't.
I stopped posting my relationship photos. He ain't even on there. Like, I'm like, I wonder if people think we're still together.
I am the master guru of that shit. Like,
you are. No, you are.
Like,
but I learned my lesson on that too.
Like, yeah, girl, I had a whole boyfriend for like 5 years. You be like, bitch, what? Like, yes, exactly. I did. Yeah. I can teach you how to do that. Mm-hmm. Look, I'm gonna start classes. Cause look, everybody want to do podcasts now. I'm gonna start classes. I'm gonna start doing virtual classes. Cause I'm like,
girl, you need to just put your podcast out and like just do what you do. Like, it's just like we need that platform. We need more facilitators of real raw conversations. Like, I'm over here as a Black female woman. That's two things. A Black female podcaster. I had a Black man on my show talking about our hoes really winning, and he's over here. Listen, we had to put a disclaimer. I was like, your feathers will get ruffled. This conversation is not for everyone. And I love that. And I'm riding your wave of saying like parts of the internet are not for everyone. And I fucking love that, because people are too quick to be like, nah, she canceled, I don't agree. And it's like, well, find someone that you do agree with. That's like someone had asked me, like, I wish that I saw more body positive people doing yoga on Instagram. And I was like, did you know that there's an entire corner on social media dedicated to body positive women? You just have to go seek that information and tailor your world to mirror what it is that you want in your life.
Yeah, exactly. And I loved how she talked about writing, because yeah, like, you know, we said, I've definitely talked about this. I haven't gotten deep into the love sector on my podcast just yet, but like I'm very much so, you guys. With Love by Jess is up right now on Spotify. It has about I'm at 12 episodes deep, but
yes, we got a good binge, y'all. We got a good binge.
Yeah, but that love and relationships right there for me is taking it to another level. I'm going to be doing that very shortly. So, but talking about oh shoot, where was I left off? Oh yeah, with B Simone, like just being ready, just being in that capacity to receive love. How she talked about, wrote down. And that was my favorite part, because I have been telling women that for a very long time. One of my favorite, and this is, and look, y'all better not, because a lot of things are copyright, right? Especially with Love by Jess is copyrighted.
She said it. She said it.
Okay.
But my number one
that I always, but like, no, for real, the number one thing that I always say is like, oh, I lost my track of thought again. Dang.
No, you were talking about receive love. Like, it's like B Simone was talking about being like, you were saying something about being ready to receive love, and I was like, ding, like that right there. Yeah. Because there was a point in my life where I was like, where men who were vibrating much higher than me, like who were trying to court me, they were trying to date me, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck. And I turned them down because now I know I was intimidated and I was not ready to receive that. I would not have known what to do with that.
For a lot of women, I think it's not even much more so about being like ready for that type of guy. It really is, like you said, like you kind of felt intimidated. It's like looking in yourself, like, why do I feel like I can't even meet that? And
I didn't
then
feel like I was ready.
and yeah, and identifying those things little by little.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
my first rule of thumb is definitely always acknowledgement. I love that word to death. Like, it's such a simple ass fucking word, but I mean, and it's so regular, and it's probably used 20 million times all the time. But I mean, literally, it's a thing that
The first step.
acknowledgement is a huge word that has to exist in our present in order
You
to be
can't fix a problem if you don't believe it's real.
I say that so much. Did I just say that like 5 times? Did I say acknowledgement is so important? Did I
You
say
probably did. Maybe. Probably.
I feel
We're
like
going
in
to
it,
say 5 more times. Acknowledgement is that
I know I
important.
say that. I know I say that because I feel like people don't get that. I'm sure. I say that because I see it and I'll be like,
Yeah,
I,
because there's going to be people listening like, I don't have a problem. I don't have
I'm
that
really
issue.
I'm really into busting bubbles and really into cracking realities like that are built off of fictitious bullshit as beliefs that are rooted in someone's ego and the bullshit that they see on the internet. It's like a combination of motherfuckers that is out there that's like that really do fall for their own shit.
Yeah.
A lot of motherfuckers are spreading toxicity like that too. And that's another thing I like to talk about with love and relationships as well, is that toxicity shit, that shit. I mean, honestly, we are seeing a cycle, a full-fledged cycle that started very, very, very long time ago. A cycle that is continue to brew and to deter women and men from being partnership. So some people are like really not like sold on the idea that, a partnership sometimes, especially because we've been through so much. I think that's like really the wear and tear where it comes from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people are so easily discouraged by love because they keep getting disappointed and hurt. And I always told people, like, even when I remember in the first ninth grade, I helped one of my homegirls get over some guy. And it was funny because I was like, do you, like, I asked them, write down on a piece of, and this is my number, this is my number, my first thing that I will ask somebody after a breakup, or somebody, even in your relationship, if you feel like there's issues or problems or feeling like you just can't connect with the person any longer, or maybe it just really ain't meant to be, or you feeling some type of guilt that you don't really want to be with this person no more or whatever. I always tell people to write it down. My number one thing is, I'm a writer, so I do visualize. I'm a visual learner. I'm a visual learner and I'm a hands-on learner. So I think both for me, I just have to see and visually and be able to touch and to be able to grasp certain concepts. But for me to visualize what I'm seeing for myself in a relationship has been my number one rule since the ninth grade, like since I was 14 years old. I've been telling people, like, what is the pros and the cons of the relationship that you like? What's the number one thing that you like about this person? Do couples and do the person. Put his name at the top, put her name at the top. What do I like about this person? What do they provide for me? What do they give me? How are they making me feel? On the pro con side.
Mm-hmm.
And on
Mm-hmm.
the con side, write all the shit that you feel like is not being contributing to the relationship. What do you feel like you need more of? What is it
Mm-hmm.
that's wrong? What is it that she's doing that ain't right? I always tell people, if your list kind of don't add up, you don't really need that person in your life, really. Some people, that's the trigger probably too. Ruffle feathers. Because sometimes we've learned in society that, oh, we just need to accept people for all the bullshit that they come with.
Right. Yep. 1000%.
I'd be like, no, that's why I'm single, motherfuckers. That's the crack in the code. Because I
See?
don't have to. I don't.
See?
Because I know what I'm worthy of. And when you start knowing what you're worthy of and you sticking to that, then you don't have to be out here dating everybody. And you don't
That
have to
part.
be falling in love with everybody thinking that they the one and they not. Because I'm
That
very
part.
secure in that. So since I was 14, like I said, I'm going to say that again. I have been helping other people get over relationships that are no longer serving them. That is a thing that needs to be healthy in you, to realize that all these people that you're giving a pass in your heart and your love, all these times you keep talking about you getting taken advantage of, and all these people that keep hurting you, you realize some people that hurting you ain't for you.
That part.
You
Can
know
we
the people
say it again
that
for the people in the back?
them people ain't for you. That man that wanna be with you, that said he wanna be with you, but he literally constantly still got 2, 3 females on the side, got his options lined up. You ain't right, this and that and the other. These are the women that be talking about, oh, I wanna be with him. But he the one got all these different hoes and bitches, but you can't tolerate. So is them the cons that you wanna really willing to put up with?
Right.
Or is it okay
Right.
if you walk away, because at this point you kind of making yourself look like an idiot and you're hurting yourself. He's not hurting you any longer. You're continuing to hurt yourself. So
Yeah.
do you still want to worship over a relationship that is no longer benefiting you and your morality and your standards and things? You just got so much things. A lot of women, I see a lot of women. I was just telling my homegirl just yesterday, we was talking about this. The good woman. What is that? There's a lot of good women, in my opinion, good women who I feel like head on their shoulders, might have had a couple of childhood trauma issues, things like that with the family, might have encouraged some things, but for the most part got a good head on her shoulder, can understand and process, is self-aware, got a decent job, she cooks, she cleans, she normal, like, not ain't no bad person. I always
Yeah.
say, like, that's just like a person that's, it's required in human life. We do take care of the things that we take care of, but we do also know that some people out there that are not doing that are bums, that are lazy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
talk about
Mm-hmm.
the yoke. We know that we're not going to be satisfied with a man who can't keep a 9 to 5 all the time, because maybe he just doesn't give a fuck about his life like that. Maybe he doesn't have any ambition. But you are a CEO type woman and you really want to be with this man. But you do realize you have to cut your losses if someone is not appropriating in your life the way that this.
Right. Right.
Have to
And
be
those
able to
are
stand these.
impeccable questions to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
always visualizing firsthand, what is it this relationship is giving you. If it makes sense, it makes sense. If it's a duck, it's a duck. If it walks and quacks, and we know the saying, we have to treat it as such.
Girl.
Anyone
Girl.
that would want to take their own lives just for the fuck of it, without any trauma, without anything, like, I mean, we know why people do that, but I don't know anybody that just walk up healthy and happy in a freaking great ass relationship and just be off themselves. 'Cause that's kind of like what you would do with your situation, and not accepting that you need to let some fucked up situation go, because now you're in an abusive situation with your own self. Now you're killing your own self off when you want to stay in a healthy, fit situation.
There comes, I feel, a point in every situation with everyone where you're given a choice and you have the opportunity, you have the luxury. A lot of times, some people don't have a choice, which I understand, but there's a lot of people who do. I can absolutely identify with, at one point in my life, with the woman who chose the lesser version of what I deserved because I didn't recognize myself as a treasure, as you described earlier.
We all go through that. I think as women and men, we all go through that. I think that's a part of growing up in life. That's gonna be that's not a experience that most people don't experience, growing up and
Mm-hmm.
falling in love, or trying to figure out what they mean to somebody, because we ain't always as certified as we think we are at the age.
That girl. Going back to everything, I think bringing this back to, what motivated this conversation. And I really, really love, that's what it was. I really love how you identified yourself as a treasure and that you know yourself as a treasure. And that's ultimately how we should treat situations. Like, I strongly feel that being intimate with someone, or you get to these levels of being romantic or intimate, you show different parts of yourself that not necessarily everybody gets. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a part of myself that I reserve only for my boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I feel like that is a treasure for him. Like, this is like I treasure myself enough to know how valuable this side of myself is, and I'm only going to give this to someone that I feel can handle it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I love how you identified that. I love how you put that. And what advice would you give to women who don't necessarily like align with that or understand how to apply that to themselves?
And you're talking, yeah. And you're talking about like knowing themselves, right?
Just like figuring out their worth, like, because
Yeah.
what I think you mean, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's a common thing now. We talk about it a lot, and it's really in self-love. For some women who can identify with that, with what you just said, is like, we have to start taking those steps into our mental health and our love for ourselves, because that's like the number one thing. I think if we're not understanding that those are the things that we need to do in order to grow, which that so knowing that you don't have self-worth comes with a stream of things, right? It comes with low self-esteem. Some people can have insecurities, be very intimidated by the opposite sex. There's so many different little weird things that they could be going through that prevent them from having successful and healthy relationships. And it's usually because of them, and that's not even to nobody's. I hate this conversation. I hear guys talking about it and girls talking about it, but I'm like, it's all y'all motherfuckers. It's all y'all motherfuckers.
Facts, girl.
Hate it. I'd be like, oh my God. I have like tons of friends that post stuff all the time. I don't do a lot of forums where that can be done, but a lot of my friends do, and it's always this back and forth banter whether or not women have this delusional mindset or men do. And I'm like, well, I mean, it's both. I mean, we don't have that, but it's stemming from something.
Right.
It's coming from somewhere. And the people that don't necessarily come with the package of self-love or understand what self-love is or ever really kind of tapped into that, because like me, I feel like I started my journey very young and early, but maybe you're 40 years old and you're just now realizing that, hey, I need self-love. And that's okay.
1000%.
It doesn't matter what your age is, period, as long as you start.
Yep.
The moment that you start turning on your light and realizing that, oh, I could be my own fucked up problem. And one of the reasons why I need to start realizing my self-worth, because that's really why, that's you. If you're a fucked up individual, if you're a toxic individual, if you're very toxic to yourself and you're toxic to others, chances are you probably don't know how much you're worth.
Yeah.
Then that could be, I think I'm worth $1 million, and I was like, okay. That's not really telling me anything. Sorry, it's not disrespectful like that. But I mean, delusional. Like, look,
yeah, it's an expectation.
You worth Kevin Samuels, because I'm gonna be like, wait, that don't make no motherfucking sense. You mean tell me that you gotta be like this? No, you need to work on yourself first, and that's self-love.
Yes.
I wanted to talk about this book right here. Talking about ourselves, being self-worthy. This is called
Healing the Soul
of a Woman.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say that a man could relate to this book, but I know that there are men books that talk about healing. And I definitely encourage looking that up, Googling it, gentlemen, if you're out there and you're kind of like, well, you just pulled up a woman book on me. Yes. There's plenty of self-help books, I think, out there that you guys can definitely reach into that will identify with a man, that will help you heal the parts in yourself that you know that are not pacifying for these relationships you guys all want. And the relationships that you feel like, whether you hating on B. Simone or not, that she's getting that you're not getting. You're not getting it because you're not putting in the work. But it does starts for self-love. So that's my first number one advice, is start practicing that. My podcast does have a couple of episodes on there that talks about self-love. Self-love is definitely my brand, and it's everything that I believe in. But I mean, love overall is the number one brand, but it's self love comes right next to that, because we can't love people the way that we want to love them or expect to be loved if we don't have that within ourselves.
That
And
part,
that,
that right there.
it's so
Yes.
simple. It's so easy. Like, it's so simple. And I'm like, it's funny because people have grasped that concept now, yes, but some people are doing it a little differently. And I always try to get people to stay on path. I constantly make those videos where I'm talking about how let's stick to the reason why we are indulging in our self-love, and it is definitely to find love within ourselves, to find love in creator, to find love in our brothers and our sisters and our loved ones. That like, just to spread love and have love and to give it,
Mm.
to be an abundance of love, there has to be a spout, like there has to be something that's continuous inside of you. So if you always in love with yourself and you just feel like
Yes.
with you, it'll always be sprouting out to other people.
You'll recognize it too in other people easily.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's why, I mean, I only fuck with certain individuals. I mean, I feel like some people don't really fuck with my vibe, but I'd be like, that's all I vibe on is love. So if you don't love me by being loving, then there's something inside of you that got a problem with love, to be able to not be able to receive it. Because I always say it might be a little abrasive, and I get it. Some people just cannot receive love. I've been in a relationship like that, y'all. Another reason why I'm single. Been in a relationship like that for real, where they were not able to receive love, like
That's
genuine,
real. That's
real love.
real.
I'm
Hmm.
talking about unconditional, being there for that person, showing up when no one else would, knowing that no one else would, because you know in the past, not even your own damn family was there for you. I mean, I know women who've been in relationships like that too, where they have given and given and given themselves to someone who I can't say are not deserving of. People are deserving of love. But it's how much are you willing to put in for it, to get it, to receive it. If you are somehow psychologically blocking out someone else's love, that means there's something wrong within you. And that is definitely a true thing. And I always tell people that. And some people don't want to hear that shit neither. It is a problem, because oh no, now I don't have to be able to receive love. See, no, but there you go, making excuses again why you should
Right.
love. Like the women who keep being delusional on Kevin Samuels thing, talking about, oh, I don't need a man and I don't want one. I don't want a relationship. That's the reason why I'm not in one, because I don't want one. You don't want one because you're not willing to fix what's inside of you.
Mm. That's deep.
That's stubbornness.
Like you would much rather be single than develop yourself into someone who can receive what you're asking for. Ooh, girl.
Child. That's why I want to get her back on the internet, and I want to talk to Kevin Samuels every
Ooh,
Saturday. Girl, you gotta watch him.
girl.
Good. Because I be like, boy, where you been at all my life? Because I've been trying to tell these females and
I
these
need to
niggas
check him out.
for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Because
That's
it's true.
real.
So I've never seen. That's why I said I would never post on Instagram. I uplift men day in and day out. My brothers, especially black men, and unfortunately, I have had some tough experiences in that department with the black brothers, with my brothers. But it's okay, because I still love them all the same. I really do. I
Hmm.
encourage, because that man that broke my heart had to learn and go through his own situation as well, and the way that he will learn, the way that most guys, when they dated me, they look back and they go, shit, gotta get my shit together, can't live, like, can't
Planting seeds, girl. Planting seeds. Yeah.
plant seeds. That's all you could do.
That's
That's
it.
the thing about letting your exes go. Y'all don't understand, because what everybody want to hold on to is, oh, they did me like that. They did
That
me like that. So
that's the
revengeful.
quickest way to die. That is the quickest way to die. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Being
you did
petty.
me wrong. You
Mm.
did me wrong. You did me wrong. And that's where closure comes from. That bullshit ass word that I don't really believe in. I don't like. I never look. I remember I asked one time for closure, and I think it was because I was really desperate. I ain't gonna be lying. Gonna lie. I wanted to save that relationship.
Been there. Yeah.
I was like, that was that was out of pocket
And
though.
then what did it do for you when you got that closure? What did it do?
Nada.
Yep, it's
That was
like
the
pouring
first
salt in a
time and
wound,
the
I
last
feel.
time. That was the first time and the last time. And that's what I told people. I said, culture is some bullshit. That shit don't make you feel no type of way. Because then what it do is, depending on who you fucking with, because depending on the manipulator, depending on the narcissist, depending on that man that did you wrong, whoever, because sometimes y'all all stuck, oh my lord, let's not get stuck up on the women that's stuck up on dick. That be just in love with the dangalang and can't move on from the dangalang and it just be the dangalang that they holding on
That's
to.
what we call the toxic dick. Everybody got one of them.
Girl!
But it sucks because it's like, why is the toxic dick always so good?
I ain't never look. I ain't never had that. No, people say all the time, Jessica, you swear you ain't never got hung up on no. I said, no, I ain't never had that.
Good for
Shit.
you, girl.
I
Good
said,
for
I said the
you.
one. Look, no, but look, I will say, very close enough with the man that did not want to receive love, and that was
Mm.
bad. That was hard. That was a lesson from that was a I like to say it's a lesson from hell, but it really also taught me too. Which I look, I could still appreciate all my relationships. I could appreciate everything that I've been through. I always say that, and this
Absolutely.
because everything has given me the wisdom. I mean, the way that I'm able to help people in their relationships. All this shit is come from something when I had already started. I remember I had my first kiss at 14. I had my first kiss. I was in the ninth grade, and I didn't give him no tongue or nothing. And you want to know what that started? That started a revolution inside of me that women don't have to be down to do all the extra stuff. You know, I didn't even know that scamming was a thing. I didn't know what scamming was. Did you know what scamming was, Rissa, when we were kids?
I did. I was very sexually
I
charged.
didn't
Like
know.
I read a lot of those like those fiction books of like just the sappy wappy coming of age stories. I watched a lot of Lifetime, a lot of Disney. So yes, I was one of the many victims that just fell for the bullshit, girl. I fell for it. So yeah, no, and it wasn't until honestly I got rejected a lot when I was younger. So it kind of forced me in a way to find different ways to connect because it's like, especially where I grew up, I wasn't around the type of boys that liked black girls. Like, I'm gonna just say what it is. Like, I wasn't the flavor. So I was like, all right, I gotta find a different way to connect with these dudes. And I developed genuine friendships. And then from there, I started to notice a pattern. Like, these boys would start getting a crush on me. So early on in life, I was like, oh, so if I like become genuinely like I genuinely like I care about you. Let's develop a relationship. I make you laugh. Da, da, da. Like I work with their shadow selves. I work with like the deeper, most inner parts of themselves, genuinely connecting. That's how you can really lock in a dude. That's how you get a man to think about you all the time. That's how you get him to look at you in a different light. Like, oh, she's just not a pretty face. She's just not, like a banging body. Like, she's funny. She has a personality. She made me laugh. She cares about my mama. Like,
See, and that's your stronghold. That's your stronghold for me. It's the same because I think I mean, I think women of great personality can say that. I know that some women lack personality.
I had to
Um,
develop it because I couldn't grab them with just the looks like everybody else. I'm like,
yeah,
but yeah, no, but I feel you. Like I learned the lesson, the deeper, greater, valuable lesson in that later on
yeah,
in life. Absolutely.
yeah, definitely. That's dope. I'm excited about that. That's great because yeah, we definitely got to move on from that, sis.
Yeah,
For
like
real.
it's very much, and like that
No
brings me
shame.
back. No, it's absolutely no shame, but it's another way. It's another option. Like I feel like the internet's what's being glorified, what's being pushed to the forefront is fake booties, fake bodies, get a dude for his money, just super, super superficial stuff. And again, I'm like, yo, again, I don't give a fuck. It's not affecting
Yeah.
my life, but what I'm finding is that do women even know there's another way anymore?
Oh man, yeah.
That's it. That's
Oh
all
my
I'm saying. I'm
God.
like,
You know what's
yeah,
so crazy? I want to talk about that. That's so good that you said that because I truly believe that reinventing yourself, renewing yourself, shifting the paradigm daily is very important. I talk about change a lot. Change is like my number one thing it's like it's what I love and preach, talk about all the time, because there's no set way of being forever. There's no set way in being
It's
forever.
not
And it's
possible.
from a person. Yeah, this is coming from a person. My tagline as I got a certain age was, this is who I am. This ain't, I'm always be Jessica
It
Sade Johnson.
is what it is. Yeah.
This is who I am. Like, I love, and it did come from a center of knowing who I was and loving myself. I
Sure.
did love myself. So it did come from a positive place. But I had to tone myself when I would say that, because I didn't realize that I was going to be a whole different Care Bear at age of 32. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like, I'm not even the Jessica that was in high school, but there's an essence of who I am that carries on and lives.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to tell people too is, like, yeah, there's certain qualities about yourself that they don't change, because those are good things and those are good qualities to continue to have. The things that you love about yourself, the things that make you feel empowered to be who you are, and if that brings joy to everyone and it brings joy to yourself, and it makes you feel good, that's what you should be doing. Those are the things that you need to be doing, is making yourself feel good and uplifting others. That's real. But
And I
if
think we need to normalize change. Like, I'm so caught up on that. Like, I
Mhm.
feel that, like, people really hold hostage how people used to be. And they don't necessarily try to get to know or appreciate who the person is in that moment, because, like, and especially, again, I'm gonna bring it back to B Simone. Like, someone commented, like, I think it's just who the person is. She's like, I see what she's saying, but I feel like it shouldn't be coming from her. And I'm like, that's so fucking interesting, because I'm like, I love the fact that it's coming from her because of the fact that she changed. Like,
She's seen what happened for her. She's seen what
yeah.
that's like. So, like I said, or like before, it's like she did a reactionary thing. I feel like it wasn't, oh, why her? Because yeah, great, it's her. I'm great that it's happening to people in a sense. I just like, okay, as soon as I see a woman talking about her testimony and how she found love, that's great.
Yes,
That's something
yes,
that's something that actually clicked in her mind. I
yes.
like it might have been too soon. That was only my thing. That was my only one little thing.
Mm,
Because I said, let's go ahead and continue to harness on that and hold on to that.
right.
And my number one rule is still to be private. So, I mean, still unleashing that fact that you got your man like this too early. Like I said, it took Sierra a long time. Sierra and Russ just did that interview. I mean, that wasn't the first time she's mentioned how she's gotten Russ or how their relationship evolved. But it took from the first time everybody started figuring out that they was so in love with each other, people was trying to figure out how the fuck she got him. And so it was like, for years, I think it took her like a couple of years. I think Sierra hadn't really actually did like a real interview where she opened up about how she really got Russ and how she felt about receiving him.
I
And
would
I feel
love
like
to
that's
hear that
very
story.
humble. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like it was very humbling, because I do, like I said, I see a lot of celebrities, they jump in and then they get all excited about their relationships, and sometimes they are not as what we think. And that's still something that she would have to, and every individual woman and man have to still kind of navigate through their lives. It's not going to always be the end all be all with one person sometimes, unfortunately, because sometimes, as great as that person can present themselves, and even if they are equally yoked, now it's starting to make sense to you, just like in her opinion. I mean, just like in her own relationship, not in her opinion, but in her own very significant relationship, she's experienced that it's working for her. Now, what's working
Mm-hmm.
is going to always work for everybody else.
Right.
And we do know that that is a thing that we do get kind of jumped all in the head, and we get excited and we want to tell everybody about our love, and we want to express all these things. And it's just like the logic that I always say, people spend millions of dollars on weddings that never last.
Mm.
Because they just so excited about broadcasting it and spending millions of dollars just to conquer this whole vision of what they want people to see them walk down the
Mm-hmm.
aisle with. That doesn't really require that. If it was that real of love, you probably, and then we'd probably see that relationship be 20-year long, not 5 years. So,
I feel you.
I
I
say
feel you.
that. So, I say always kind of like keep your mouth shut a little bit tighter. But it's still nothing wrong with what she did, because what she said was Jim. It was still glorified. It was still something that was very needed to be said to women who are at that point in their lives where they're like, okay, well, shoot, my last relationship just ended. I'm single. Shoot, I've been by myself for a year now. I feel like I know where I'm at in my life and what I want. I know what I want. I know how worthy I am of the things that I can receive. Now it's time for me to start manifesting these things. And I also want to talk about how it's not that you have to be completely healed to find that too.
Facts.
Because some people miss their blessings like that. I know that I'm someone who has to watch that even for my own self, because I am caught up in the idea that I want to be healed. I love myself. I want to take care of myself. All the relationships that I've been in that did me wrong, all those things that I've had to go and endure, I've taken diligent time to process those things. I've taken time to care for myself in ways that other people don't want to take care of themselves in the time that they're skipping around and sticking with everybody. I love that Jada Chavez girl, or Jada, I forgot her last name, but she dated Lil Baby. She was just with him last year, and they had a breakup, and she was just talking about it. She got very vocal about being in a relationship all her freaking adult life so far, and since high school, and she needs to be single. And I say, yeah, so those times where we can already identify our clinginess to having this relationship, we need to be in these relationships. Those type of situations, those are the times that we definitely need to take care of ourselves a lot more. So I get really excited to see women stepping into their vulnerability. I feel like that was very a vulnerable moment for her to speak on that, because even where I'm at in the music industry and where I'm trying to influence other artists to get that part of their life right when it comes to their relationships, because in the industry, relationships is everything. And as someone who works in artist development and someone who builds relationships with artists and producers and engineers and, everybody, you name it, I mean, songwriters, I have to have these thorough ass relationships with everybody in the business. And relationships are something that we're supposed to nurture. And if we're not really taking care of ourselves, we're not going to be able to nurture our relationships with other people.
Facts.
It's like a secondhand thing. It's just like, if we want to be a firefighter, we would have to go to the classes, right? We would have to go sign up. We would have to go take the classes. We'd have to get educated, do the drills and all that shit, and work out and lift every day to be real strong to firefighters. So how do we get these really great people to these people in our alliances in the industry, and our alliances in our families, in our friendships, and the people that we meet, even in our partners, the boyfriend and the girlfriend, I even hate using those words a lot too. Your man and your woman, the honor, honoring your king and your queen, your partner, your Bonnie, your Clyde. I like to use those words too, Bonnie and Clyde, because I felt like that was a good partnership as well. People have their controversial ending of that relationship. I don't give a fuck. All I know is that they was really, really down for each other.
They were the definition of loyalty. That is for sure. That is
She was
definitely
down.
for sure.
Always down. She was down. Because she was down to do it all. And I be loving that shit, because that's how I get down. But, you gotta
But
find.
no, that's it's like we're not highlighting the toxicity. It's the same thing with Harley Quinn and the Joker. We're not highlighting the toxicity, but it's a representation of what loyalty can look like. And like, even in the fucked up shit, even in the thick of the toxicity, they really rode for each other. And I want to emulate that on the healthy side in the relationship I am now. But I wanted to go ahead and close out this episode. We are going on a good strong 2 hours, and we got some good, nice, hearty gems in here that I can't wait for everyone to listen to, and to bring it all back around. The reason having Jess, and just grateful for your energy today, but having you on the show to really help facilitate that there are choices, ladies and gentlemen. We always have a choice, and we don't always have to take the choice that is constantly fed to us. And I just want to highlight that, you can go after a relationship. You can either numb the pain and continue to seek validation outside of yourself, and continue to say, well, I'm not the problem. Let me get someone else to fix it. Or you can do what Jess was talking about and go inside and reflect and talk about what Lil Baby's ex-girlfriend was talking about. And I need to be single, and I need to figure this out. You have a choice to recognize the pattern, or if there is a pattern, if you choose to see the pattern, or you can make the choice to be like, nah, I want to go run the streets and do this and that, and like, baby girl, my brother, my sisters, it is all love. It is all up to you. We're just here to present the choice. We are here to give you the facts so you can make a well-rounded decision. Mm-hmm.
Everybody got choices. You know, E40 says that. That's one of my favorite songs. Cause it was like when that shit dropped, Rissa, I forgot where I was at. Damn it. I should not be forgetting these things. But wherever I was at, I know I was fucking with that song so hard. Because it is true. We all have choices.
Yep.
We have choices whether or not we want to be in these relationships or not, or are you being real with yourself, you know, with yourself saying, you know, am I ready for a relationship? Am I not ready for a relationship? Just processing. Be authentic. Number one, before we close out, sorry. Be authentic with yourself. Please be authentic with yourself. I know it could be hard. I feel like that's a trauma. That's a reactionary trauma that people cannot embrace who they really are in front of other people because of how they've experienced their childhoods and how people have capsized them and made them feel smaller than they can be themselves. But I really encourage you to love on yourself, to know that you can be seen even in yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. Just be authentic yourself. Talk to yourself and tell yourself some shit. Be
mirror
real,
work, baby.
Mirror work. Be in the mirror. That's my number one thing. And two, just really love on yourself and really hone in on the idea that you have purpose. Try to find faith in your life and purpose in your life. I always say, like, you know, before we could even get to, you know, our worthiness and all this other stuff, know why you even here. And I think too, like, that comes with understanding what we deserve, you know, because we understand on what level we're going to be at. I want to also close out. Sorry, I need to, can I like list?
Yes, please.
A really good video, you guys. I wanted to try to find earlier. I want to encourage this, and then I'm talking about like purpose. I'm talking about purpose, worthiness, deserving, being thereof, especially in relationships. This is a video that is super dear to my heart that you guys could all learn from. I know you can. It's the most endearing video that I've ever seen in my life. I love it because it teaches so much about like love and relationships and the equally yoked part that B Simone was talking about. You know, the part that, you know, everybody talks about is being equally yoked right now. I think that's something that everybody's kind of starting to kind of catch the vibes on. And this is a very life-changing video. For me, when I knew, there have been very different periods of time where I had practiced celibacy in my life. I started doing fasting, spiritual fast, things that I felt like definitely brought me to a point in my life where I was ready to start receiving love. And when I did start going into that, of course, I still kind of like, there were things that I needed to unveil that I was still working on within myself, that I was attracting a certain type of person, and it was still dealing with insecurities and people dealing with their own insecurities and seeing that within myself. So when this video came into my life, just last year, 2020 or 2020? No, it was 2019. It came in 2019, probably like right at the cusp, 2019, 2020, in that frame. And this video talks about finding the love of your life. It is by Saddleback Church, Hong Kong. If you go on to YouTube, it has 1.2 million views. This was posted 5 years ago. So that's kind of like details of the video. But the title is Finding the Love of Your Life. It's the most inspirational and life-changing videos that I've ever watched in my life. I get emotional when I see it, still talk about it, because it definitely gave me a foundation of what I'm looking for, how I can become equally yoked to my partner, the things that I'm looking for out of my life and what I relationship. So that's another reason why I always tell people, haha, yes, haha, I'm funny, I'm crazy, I am a crazy bitch. That's the reason why I'm not in a relationship. Just joking, but it's because I don't want to ruin chances of not being able to receive the love that I deserve by
Mm,
own being my own blockage.
mm.
I know that if I am 100, the man that I'm going to manifest is also going to be that man. I am nothing short of receiving a man that is very honest, real, loyal, very down to earth, that wants kids, that wants all these things that I want. That is also an alpha that feeds my needs, that can be there for me spiritually, mentally, sexually, and everything that I feel like I deserve. So that
Mm.
is what I choose to wait on. That is what I choose to hone in on. And because I want to manifest that for myself, when I know that I am completely, and not completely, and like I said, not, you don't have to fully heal, like you don't have to be like this perfectly healed human being. You don't have to think that you're going to be this perfect woman before you're going to receive the man of your dreams.
Yep.
Just know that it is going to require the inner work and the mirror work that you need to receive this love, so that even in the midst of you continuing to heal, when you manifest that man, because that man can still come in the midst of you healing yourself,
Mm.
uh, know that you will have a protection, and that that man will have already understood who he is in your life as well, and he will be there every step of the way. That's how you know that that man is that yours, and that's how you know what's for you is not going to be void, because he's also going to be there, just like how you and Eugene are doing. You guys are doing great because you guys both realize that in order for me to be the best partner in my relationship, I have to also be best
Mm.
good for myself, and I also need
Mhm.
to encourage my partner for wanting to be better to themselves.
Yes.
That's also saying I will not give up on my love. That is not giving up on you. So you guys, that is my message for you guys. Like, definitely do that video. It's so
Mm.
amazing.
I'm gonna
Life change.
find it for y'all. I'm gonna put the link in there. I'm not even gonna put any words on that because I'm like, y'all, just we are going to close that out with those beautiful, beautiful words. Jess, I want to thank you so much again for your energy, your gems, your just everything, just all of you, just all of it. Please tell my listeners where they can find you, where just everywhere. Plug it all, girl.
Yeah, so yeah, if you guys have any inquiries, hit me up on my business page, With Love by Jess. That's also my holistic healing vegan page, and then I also have my my personal page where I do all my life coaching. That's where you can find my inspirational quotes and my write ups. I'm a blogger, so if you guys need any assistance in anything, you guys can reach me at that page, and it's at Jessa Rabs 88. So it's JESSARABBS 88. I know that's
All
a
of
long,
these will
but
be
that's
linked. No, you good, girl. It's going to be in the
yeah,
description box of everywhere. It's going to be linked. So there's no excuses, you guys. Definitely take advantage. This is exactly why I do what I do, to bridge the gap to these beautiful, beautiful people and souls so that you can take advantage of the Culture Fest
And if you
community.
have any questions, please DM me. I feel like lately it's been a little quiet, but and I know it's because we stepped into a whole new decade. It's 2021. I know a lot of people were going through a lot of things last year. I offer that safe space once again. That is really my life. You guys have no bearings on me whatsoever. If you guys need someone to talk to, I am here. That is what I do for the community. I am all love, peace, and it is respect. And when you come to me, everything is confidential. So, yes, do not be afraid to hit me up.
Hey, ask and it closed mouths don't get fed. Ask and
Love,
it shall and you shall
relationships,
receive
sex,
all of that.
all that love,
All
relationships.
that girl. All that girl. Go get your tribe, y'all. Go get your tribe. All right. On that note, you guys know where to find me. Rissa SoFar on all social media platforms. Also follow the blog Culture at Culture Fuzz, Culture Fuzz on Twitter. That's it for today, guys. And I will catch y'all next week. Bye.
Ah.